KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Governor Spencer Cox is calling for the legislature to expand Utah's child tax credit as part of his yearly budget. But family advocates think it should go a step further.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, Utah became just the 13th state in the country to institute its own child tax credit during last year's legislative session. As it stands now, parents making no more than $54,000 a year can claim a $1,000 credit for kids between ages 1 and 3. KSL.com reports, though, Governor Spencer Cox wants to up that age to 5 years old. However, Voices for Utah Children is calling for lawmakers to also include newborns. So under the governor's proposal, that would encompass about 9.2% of all children in Utah. By including newborns, that number jumps to 21.7% of all Utah kids. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake NAACP President Janetta Williams says she's running for Utah's House of Representatives in District 26. Williams has been leading the local chapter of the NAACP for more than 30 years. She says she's choosing to run now because the people of the west side of the valley deserve an advocate who will put their needs first. Williams is challenging West Valley Representative Matt McPherson.
The Roosevelt mayor is choosing to end his run for Senate and instead run for a position in Utah's House of Representatives. Mayor Rob Byrd Jr. is running in the 3rd District, that's in Congress, covering Morgan and northern Weber County. He says his background in the energy sector and history in rural areas makes him a good fit for office.
We also start the morning with some breaking news this morning from Payson, where 2 people were killed in a crash on I-15. The crash involved a car and a semi-truck. We'll continue to gather details, and we will keep you updated on how this is impacting the commute when we check traffic and weather together.
A Utah judge has dismissed the murder charges against a 23-year-old woman accused of killing a professional bull rider in 2022. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson has the story.
At a justification hearing this week, the judge said 23-year-old LaShawn Denise Bagley was legally justified when she killed 27-year-old professional bull rider Demetrius Allen. KSL.com reports Bagley called 911 at 12:04 a.m. on September 12, 2022 to report someone breaking into her home. Officers found Allen with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Also dismissed on Wednesday were 9 counts of felony discharge of a firearm, 1 first-degree felony, and 8 third-degree felonies against Bagley. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. GOP frontrunner former President Donald Trump wants the Supreme Court to undo the Colorado ruling removing him from the primary ballot. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
Trump is bringing his battle to stay on the ballot in Colorado to the U.S. Supreme Court after that state's high court disqualified him for his actions on January 6, 2021. Trump's legal team is appealing, but not asking the justices to expedite consideration. If the court takes its time, Colorado's current ruling calls for Trump to remain on the ballot for the state's March 5th primary.
The former president has also been removed from the ballot in Maine.
Intermountain Health has been named one of the nation's best large healthcare providers.
Fortune and Pink AI named Intermountain Health as the number 3 large system healthcare provider in the United States. Large provider defined as having operating costs of at least $2.5 billion or $1.5 billion in operating costs and serving at least 3 states. The top systems are credited with having better survival rates, fewer patient complications, and fewer healthcare-related infections. In a release, Intermountain President and CEO Rob Allen says the award highlights the dedication and incredible work of leaders and teams across Intermountain's 64,000 caregivers. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Time for First Look Traffic. Andy, we might have to explain what that white stuff is out there this morning.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had snow actually on the ground during a drive, but right now you might see it depending on where you are. Definitely wet conditions, foggy conditions in some spots, and the big issue right now is a temporary closure, or at least it had been closed, of I-15 on the northbound side in down in going between Santaquin and Payson. In the cameras, it looks like they might be letting at least a lane go by where the fatal crash happened, but at least at the moment, there's not any big delays down in the area, but that could be an inconvenience and you may get diverted. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, the Jazz came away with a win against the Pistons last night, and a new record was set as well. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more. Michael?
Amanda, the overtime game ended 154 to 148, landing Utah 9-3 over the past 12 games. Now this one saw them go against a hot shooting Detroit, who were able to tie the game at the literal last second to send it into overtime.
AB going coast to coast. He'll throw up a prayer. Got it!
Now, ultimately, the Jazz were able to come away with the win, but even if you're more into trivia than sports, this game's got something. The team's combined score of 302 makes it a new record for the Jazz. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
302 points.
Yeah, the rule changes in the NBA are really benefiting offense, not defense these days. There is not much of that being played. The votes are in for the NFL Pro Bowl, and this is cool. Former BYU rookie receiver Puka Nacua made that list. Others with local ties going to the Pro Bowl include Penei Sewell, Jalen Johnson, Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Rashid Shaheed, and Miles Killebrew.
Wow. Well, hitting the snooze button in the morning is not the worst way to start the day. That's according to a new study. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris has the details.
Snoozing isn't necessarily losing, according to a study from Stockholm University. Researchers found that healthy sleepers who snooze up to 30 minutes each morning don't have negative cognitive effects, and it can even help some people wake up more easily. Data also found that there is not a large difference in sleepiness or mood between snoozers and non-snoozers throughout the day. While their data shows hitting the snooze button doesn't majorly harm healthy sleepers, it can be negative for those with sleep disorders, medical conditions, those who have atypical sleep schedules, or wake up frequently throughout the night. Alessandra Harris, KSL News Radio.
Do you hit the snooze button too?
No.
I
think
try
it's cruel.
never to.
It's cruel to myself.
And it's cruel to my spouse. I mean, I think, when the alarm goes off at that time, to make it go off again seems cruel. But sometimes I do it with no memory of having done it.
Do you do this, though? I have this regular conversation with myself, and I talk myself out of underneath the quilt, right? I say, these next few minutes are not going to make a difference in your life today. You might as well get out now.
That's good, Tim. I have to do that.
Anyway, local wildlife officials asking people to stop ditching fish. We officially call this on the Outdoor Show bucket biology. It comes after DWR says somebody dumped a walleye into Strawberry Reservoir, which could damage the ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We do have wet roads this morning. Snow in some places. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm blessed that KSL has given me the freedom to talk about whatever I want. Literally, it is my minute of news. It might be something bizarre that you didn't know. Sometimes it's pegged to what's happening that very day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
More talk today. Of course, the legislative session is right around the corner, but more talk today about expanding Utah's child tax credit. Which I know is something that families are going to pay very, very close attention to and maybe got a little used to during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We'll be following every bit of that legislative session for you here on KSL. It's 5:09, so let's get a look at how the roads are doing. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. And oh, don't tell me. We've got emergency traffic to start the morning, Andy?
Well, yeah, we've got a portion of I-15 that's closed between Santaquin and Payson because of an overnight fatal crash. So traffic's being pushed off at the Santaquin exit. You follow the main road all the way up into Payson, and then you can get back on at 800 South in Payson and continue north. So that is an inconvenience for northbound drivers. There was apparently some vehicles that had been stuck behind the closure, and it looks like those are the ones they're letting pass at the moment. At least that's as far as we can tell. After that, at least for now, I-15 moving fairly consistently close to the speed limit all the way to Point of the Mountain. Heather?
No delays right now through Weber and Davis County, but we do have some foggy spots, so visibility is going to be reduced. Your roads are also a bit wet, which means they could be slick. We're right near the freezing mark, so bridges, overpasses, ramps, they're all going to be very icy. You want to slow down your speeds for safety, especially on Legacy Parkway where I'm seeing most of the fog. Eric.
And we do have some patches of fog on I-80 if you're on Parley's Canyon this morning, so take her easy going up the hill to Parley Summit. That's where you got some slowdowns eastbound on 80 right now. In Salt Lake County, you've got wet spots on the freeways, but I-15 is rolling along at a fairly normal pace from Point of the Mountain to downtown. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yesterday's southern Utah storm delivered, but it brings some flurries to northern Utah today. Look for a high of 37. Not much in the way of accumulation. Overnight lows dipping off into the upper 20s will go mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 37. We've got snow showers likely, maybe 1 to 2 inches. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And let's see, we start the morning at least downtown, 30 degrees this hour.
Well, it's in the Supreme Court's court now. So former President Trump is asking the court to take a look at that Colorado ruling that took him off the ballot in that state.
Did he have to ask for that,
Yes.
or was that not already going to happen?
Well, yeah, someone has to appeal to bring it to the court's attention. The question is, whether they'll take it and how fast they decide. I think it's just a fascinating case. We'll learn more with Stephen Portnoy just ahead on KSL.
That is coming up next. You'll find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Are you one of those people? Self-driven, confident, love sales and understanding marketing. Would you like to work with a variety of businesses, large and small, helping them succeed? Do you want to actually make the kind of money you know you should make? Are you looking for a career with an opportunity to grow?
Well, we're looking for those people.
Bonneville Salt Lake Media Group is looking for account executives from a variety of backgrounds and experience levels to connect with high-potential business opportunities for digital marketing. KSL Podcasts, KSL News Radio, 103.5 The Era, FM 100.3, and 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It's advertising sales that will change your world. Not to mention the world-class list of benefits we're famous for. You'll work in person and remotely in a dynamic team culture with opportunities to reach audiences both locally and globally. If this is the kind of work that interests you, text careers to 57500. That's careers to 57500. Text careers to 57500.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. Inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm originally from New Jersey. It's a little different than Utah. Oh, okay. It's a lot different than Utah. You understand what I'm saying here? I first came here on a date. I had an employee who lived in Utah, and I said, that girl, I think I'm going to meet her, and it's tax deductible. I never left. I've never left. I've been here for going on 15 years now, and we've been married for 12. I've been around the block in the radio business. I've worked for a lot of major companies. There are none with the commitment to the community that I found at KSL. There are none with the camaraderie of the staff that I found at KSL. And there are none with the commitment of management and the company to the safety, the health, the welfare of their staff. And I just love this place.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah Governor Spencer Cox wants lawmakers to expand who qualifies for Utah's child tax credit, but one child advocate group is calling for it to go even further. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, 2 people were killed on I-15 in Payson this morning in a crash involving a semi-truck.
Third, that's affecting your drive already this morning. Let's check traffic and weather together.
I-15 blocked between Santaquin and Payson as they work on an overnight fatal crash. That's on northbound 15. We've also got slick conditions, foggy conditions, some snow on the ground and spots to deal with this morning as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're right on schedule today with cloudy skies and some flurries. Cold. I'm Matt Johnson.
30 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get a look at our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Republican challengers to the frontrunner in Iowa are trying to build their own support. 75-year-old Republican Christopher Garcia tells ABC he wishes his preferred candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, would campaign harder against the former president.
What happened to our credibility, holding these people to some kind of credibility? You know, we held Trump to no credibility.
President Biden had planned to launch his re-election campaign with a speech at Valley Forge about what he says is Trump's threat to democracy, but it's been moved ahead to Friday because of a possible snowstorm. The White House says the U.S. had nothing to do with twin explosions that killed at least 95 people during a ceremony marking the anniversary of when the U.S. assassinated a top Iranian general. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said,
"Our hearts go out to all the innocent victims and their family members who are obviously, their lives are going to be forever changed by this."
White House also said there's no indication Israel was involved. White House is calling for more aid for Israel and for Ukraine, but Republicans in Congress, like House Speaker Mike Johnson, who led a delegation to the border in Texas, say,
if President Biden wants a supplemental spending bill focused on national security, it better begin by defending America's national security.
Referring to the southern border. You're listening to ABC News.
All right, let's go in depth here. Former President Donald Trump fighting to get his name back on the primary ballot in Colorado.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy joins us live. Tim and I were just talking about this, Stephen. And so the Colorado GOP had filed to the Supreme Court, but now former President Trump is himself filing?
That's correct. And there are now 2 petitions. In fact, the Trump petition, and this is a sort of an esoteric legal point, but it hasn't yet been docketed at the Supreme Court. It probably will be today. The campaign released the filing publicly last night, so we all had a chance to read it. And now there are or will be 2 petitions at the High Court. No indication yet as to when the justices will engage on this and take it up and, for example, ask for replies and schedule, a conference to decide whether to take the case. And we don't know if they will, but the suggestion is that they will, because all legal experts in the country have been looking to the Supreme Court for answers to questions that have been asked. Let's talk about what's in this filing. Attorneys for the former president say that the Colorado Supreme Court ruling is not correct, cannot be correct. They say that President Trump in no way engaged in insurrection, that the January 6th riot did not amount to that. They argue that it's up to Congress and not to the courts or state officials to decide whether a candidate is eligible to be president, especially when it comes to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. They claim the office of president isn't covered by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. And courts across the country, as they've been weighing these issues, have had difficulty answering them, and they've had diverging opinions. Only the Supreme Court can answer these questions, and that's why it's all eyes on the High Court here in Washington.
Doesn't this boil down to in terms of Trump being charged or being convicted of anything? It's due process, isn't it?
Well, due process is certainly a fundamental principle that is in play, but the idea that a conviction is necessary, when you look at the drafting history of the 14th Amendment, and I have, back in 1866, it was a question as to whether a conviction was necessary, and the Senate decided not to include a conviction requirement. There were senators who wanted that, and they decided not to put it in. So you could argue that even though the insurrection, there's a particular statute in the U.S. Code that says that if you engage in insurrection or rebellion, that you should, I think that the punishment is 10 years in prison and also an inability to serve in office under the United States. The fact that that hasn't been charged by the Justice Department in this modern era, I'm not sure if ever, certainly not since the Civil War, that it shouldn't apply to Trump, because who's to say that he engaged in insurrection? That was a determination reached so far only by the Maine Secretary of State on her own conclusion. and the Colorado Supreme Court looking at the determination that the judge in Denver made after a hearing. And one of the Trump's arguments is that that's just not the way this ought to work. You shouldn't have trial court judges in Denver, Colorado, deciding questions like this, or a Secretary of State in Maine without some sort of proper way that Congress should set up. This whole idea of it being self-executing is very much a question.
If you have a few more seconds, Stephen, I just wanted to ask you, I know the court tries to stay out of political issues, but this one is as pure of a political issue as you get, isn't it?
There is one off-ramp that I think the court might enjoy diving into in last night's filing from the Trump campaign, and they make the point that also in the 14th Amendment there's a provision that says that Congress can remove the disability from someone who engaged in insurrection by a two-thirds vote of both houses. Well, it wouldn't be today's House and Senate. It would be tomorrow's House and Senate, the 120th Congress, yet to be chosen. So how can state officials or state courts decide right now, before the election, that Trump is ineligible? It's up to Congress, isn't it?
Boy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so many twists and turns here. And thank you, Stephen. The other day we were talking about the fact that there's 30 other states that are pondering this.
Yeah.
And you would think the Supreme Court would want to have some kind of a ruling and settle this.
Right.
In a presidential election year.
Except for no matter what they decide. I mean, it's almost like Bush v. Gore. There's going to be a feeling that politics were involved, whichever way they go.
Well, all of this has politics in it.
Yeah.
We will continue to follow it. And again, our thanks to Stephen Portnoy helping us out on the In-Depth at 15:45.
We have emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Amanda, it's down in Utah County where I-15 is closed between Santaquin and Payson. It's on the northbound side only. Southbound traffic can go through, but northbound will be diverted off in Santaquin, and then you just stay on that main road, SR 198, all the way up into Payson, and then it's actually called State Street. And then once you hit 800 South, you can go get back on I-15. The rest of the way through Utah County for now, moving pretty close to the speed limit. Road conditions seem a little bit better in the northern part of Utah County than they are once you get into the valley. Heather?
We do have a bit of fog and some wet road conditions through Weber and Davis County, so that may slow down your speeds a bit, but we don't have a lot of traffic right now on the roadways. We do have lane restrictions already in place on Legacy Parkway. That is northbound between Centerville and Farmington, and that too could slow you down. Eric.
Looks like we got some slowdowns on I-80 if you're westbound past Lake Point in Tooele County, heading out towards the Grantsville exits. But right now, despite what one traffic trooper says, very slushy conditions, SR 36 is moving pretty well, heading up towards I-80. I-15 Utah County, right now you do have wet spots, but normal movement up towards downtown from Draper and Sandy. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast is full of cold air and snow chances. Love to see it. 37 today with flurries likely. 37 tomorrow with snow showers moving in right around that lunch hour. 33 and cloudy skies for most of the day on Saturday, and we could see some snow move in Saturday night. 31 cold on Sunday, snow likely, especially in the morning. 29 partly cloudy on Monday, dry on Tuesday again, 34. Then we bring in more snow on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I heard Mark Eubank this morning on the way in. Kevin Eubank. I still say Mark Eubank. Man, those old habits every once in a while jump out. I heard Kevin say that we won't get much out of this one, but over the weekend, 1 to 2 feet in the Cottonwoods. So that's some good news.
Yeah, we need that.
Downtown, it's not snowing at the moment anyway, 30 degrees.
Boy, at the buzzer last night, I guess that the coach was going crazy because he wanted the Jazz players to foul that guy.
Yeah.
So that so that they couldn't tie it up with a wild three. But no, you can't hear when it's that loud in the Delta Center. But anyway, it has a great outcome and the most points ever scored on the floor. I love that.
Over what was it? 302?
302, yeah.
Crazy. By the way, the 7-day forecast this morning is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. We'll take a quick break, see what the markets look like to start the morning next.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
Can an insurance bot ever really understand your needs?
Do you think I'd benefit from bundling my auto and home coverage?
Searching for homes with car dealerships nearby.
Sure, robots listen, but do they understand you? At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you save money and time by bundling your auto and home insurance. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The Biden administration is providing $162 million to microchip technology. It's to support the domestic production of computer chips. The incentives include $90 million to improve a plant in Colorado and $72 million to expand a factory in Oregon. The investments would triple domestic production of these chips.
We've talked about Tesla lowering the price of their vehicles over the last little while. GM says it's going to be discounting their EVs that no longer qualify for the government's $7,500 tax credit. The automaker says it wants prices to stay competitive.
Utah County is getting its first cheesecake factory, Tim.
And the celebration begins.
Oh, my daughter loves that restaurant. The restaurant will be located at University Place in Orem. Officials said construction will begin immediately and is set to open in February.
That's great. All right, the first 2 days of trading in this new year were rough. We had another down day yesterday. We were off 0.8% on both the S&P and the Dow, and down over 1 full percent on the NASDAQ. Looks like we'll take a breather today. The Dow is actually up slightly. It's up 57 points. These are futures. The S&P is up just a point. The NASDAQ still in the red, however. It's down 16.5.
We have some wet roads this morning, some snow in places, and also northbound I-15 continues to be closed between Santaquin and Payson. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Have you heard of IRS Tax Code Section 1.408A-4? It sounds complicated, but it's a simple tax law thousands of Utah families are using to lock in lower tax bills when they retire. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement, and some of this money is in an IRA or 401k, it could save you tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in future tax bills. You can find out how much you could save by requesting a free and confidential retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. For your free retirement tax analysis, call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
This U.S. Senate race gets better by the day.
Elections officials say next week's deadline may catch some by surprise.
Congressman John Curtis in studio with us live.
This is a major life decision.
Democrats say they will run a candidate, but haven't yet said who.
Get updates on who's running each morning this week and get analysis on the candidates later in the day. Listen to David Dujanovic at 9 and Boyd Matheson at 1. Your voice, your vote 2024 this week
on KSL News Radio.
Join KSL and the movie show this Friday from 11 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, mpsstore.com.
It's emergency traffic and weather together here at 529, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. I see why it's emergency, Andy. That semi-truck that was involved down there around Payson still on its side.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit, they're saying at least a couple of hours to get freeway reopened. At this point, there is starting to see backups on North 15 at the Santaquin exit where everyone's being pushed off on the northbound side. Then you just follow State Street up to 800 South, and you can get back onto I-15 after, a couple blocks journey back to the freeway. Or you could just stay on it, and then eventually in Payson, it'll join you up with the other exit a little bit further north. But right now, that's the only thing affected in Utah County. I-15 moving fairly consistently after that all the way up into the Salt Lake Valley. Heather?
I-15 also moving well through Weber and Davis County. No delays right now from Ogden to Salt Lake, but some of the roads may be a little bit wet or icy, especially bridges and overpasses, as we did have some overnight snow. So just be cautious with that. And things are a bit misty, especially on Legacy Parkway. Eric?
Got some fog out in Parley's Canyon on I-80, more so it seems at the mouth of the canyon rather than into the mountains itself. But you do have some westbound slowing from Jeremy Ranch up over the top of Parley Summit. Out in Tooele County, you've got slowdowns on SR 138 if you're on the coming from Grantsville over to the center part of the county, and same for I-80 drivers. But although on our sensors it looks like it's the westbound side that you're seeing more slowing than on the eastbound side. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a chance of snow 5 of the next 7 days. How do you like that, Tim?
Are you kidding? You see me smiling over here?
Today we have a chance of snow, and we've already seen some. Tomorrow, an even greater chance. We still have a chance Saturday and Sunday, and then again on Wednesday of next week. Today's high will be 38 degrees, and right now it's 30 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
The family of an injured skier is calling on people to slow down while they're on the slopes as resorts all around the country see a rise in collisions.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, Karen Farron's daughter, 27-year-old Sydney Ross, is now back home after getting hit by another skier at Brighton Resort almost 3 weeks ago. Farron tells KSL TV she is expected to make a full recovery from a traumatic brain injury and a lengthy hospital stay, but she's still got about a year of rehab ahead of her.
The fact that this happened, it was like, breaks my heart.
Farron says the person that hit her did not stop, and Unified Police are actually still investigating this incident. This kind of thing has been on the rise at resorts all around the country. According to the National Ski Areas Association, there were 53 catastrophic injuries last season, which is above the 10-year average. They say the leading factor was speed. Now, seeing more safety guidelines coming out from Ski Utah to help everyone on the slopes stay safe. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We do have some snow falling this morning, which should help our ski resorts open up more runs, which may contribute to some of these numbers. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says northern Utah will see more snow over the weekend.
Today is cloudy with some hors d'oeuvres. We're calling it flurries. Highs in the upper 30s. It's really not much. Into tomorrow, looks like we'll see a boundary move through. That'll produce some snow showers down to the valley floor. We're talking about 1 to 2 inches, but the benches could pick up 3 or more. Highs in the 30s.
The heaviest snow will fall between Saturday night and Sunday morning.
The owner of Soul Shoes is trying to recover after someone stole tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise. KSL TV's Debbie Worthen has the story.
It's personal to the business owner. She was born in Mexico, and she knows many of the people that make these high-end shoes. But she's moved what's left of her inventory into her garage now after thieves came to her storage unit, cut the lock, took the shoes, and just left the boxes. It has been a devastating blow to this small business owner.
The robbery happened at a storage unit in Saratoga Springs just after Christmas.
The Pac-12 Conference has been falling apart over the past several months, and the commissioner is talking about it for the first time. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story. Michael?
Tim, George Kliavkoff didn't seem to show any remorse about the downfall of Pac-12 after Washington's playoff victory against Texas. Instead, he took credit for the conference's successful season and blamed schools for the failed media rights negotiations that sent the Pac-12 into a tailspin. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Former President Bill Clinton is among the high-profile names listed in newly unsealed court documents related to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
After Epstein's arrest in 2019, a Clinton spokesperson denied the former president knew about Epstein's crimes, denied Clinton was ever on Epstein's island, and said Clinton had not communicated with Epstein in more than a decade. Also in the documents, deposition from a witness who said she met Michael Jackson and magician David Copperfield during her time with Epstein. Epstein died in jail while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges in 2019. His death was ruled a suicide.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert says former President Trump and Prince Andrew are also names found in the documents.
Police are still working to find out how a man was able to get through a secure area of the Salt Lake Airport and get into a plane engine when he later died. Former Ogden Airport manager John Greiner tells KSL TV people outside of law enforcement should have intervened.
It's kind of surprising to me that somebody can get through one of those doors, even though it set off the alarm, and get all the way across the airport where everybody on that airport tarmac has had the same training.
He says every airport has a tight security plan in place.
First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
We've got a freeway closure north 15 in Provo, or down south of Provo in Santaquin, going up into Payson from a fatal crash. We've got wet conditions on the roads, especially Tooele County, going into Parleys and up at Park City. And you're going to see wet conditions on I-15 up north of Salt Lake, but so far that hasn't created any extra delay on the freeway coming south. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scientists are working to find new ways to help the ecosystems of birds and bats in Utah.
The Ogden Nature Center has collaborated with MODIS, a North American migration tracking system. They've set up around 30 tracking stations along the Wasatch Front. The center's conservation director, Maya Pendleton, says this will lead to game-changing conservation research. It works like this. The center will put tiny, harmless GPS tags on local birds, bats, and insects. They'll send the little guys out into the wild. The towers will then pick up migration data.
These tags not only tell you a GPS location, they can really tell you all sorts of things about the animal's movements, if there are more stopover habitats that are seeming really important to them.
This data will help the center figure out ways to best conserve these animals and their habitats. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
We bought a lot of cars in 2023. ABC's Daria Albinger reports.
High prices, rising interest rates, an historic UAW strike, which threatened to raise them even more, and a computer chip shortage, which slowed down assembly lines to a crawl. In many cases, couldn't keep Americans out of dealerships last year. Cox Automotive says 15.6 million new vehicles were sold nationwide in 2023. That's up 12% from the year before. It's also the biggest increase in over a decade. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
But sales have yet to return to pre-pandemic levels.
Turns out Utah ranks 9th when it comes to living a lifestyle that promotes brain health. Here's KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
According to LifeExtension.com, there are 7 lifestyle habits that lead to better brain health. That list includes things like regular consumption of fruits and vegetables, hours slept during the night, interest in meditation, and breastfeeding rates. The study uses data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Survey of Children's Health, and Google Trends. Vermont, Oregon, and Colorado top the list. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
I-15 is mostly at a normal pace this morning, with the exception of drivers northbound in Santaquin. There was an earlier crash there that has the freeway closed, but we'll check it. That and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Here's to everyone who was made to shine from Shane Company. To wearing your lucky gold chain to the game, to receiving your first communion in your new pearls. Here's to getting down on one knee, to recommitting to forever, to saying yes to something sparkly just for you, just because. Here's to your first set of diamond studs, to the family heirloom you'll never take off. Here's to lighting up the room like only you can. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
Sadly, both political parties are more interested in scoring political points than they are solving the American people's problems. They're playing a zero-sum game, and it's not zero-sum. It's everybody coming together. We have to come together. Compromise has integrity. That's a big part of what's going wrong in our nation's capital and in many conversations around the country.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
This story of this girl, this skier that was blindsided by another skier, and then they just skied off, is frustrating for me as a skier myself. And it's my biggest fear for my wife, who is a great skier, but, you know, she can be in total control and then just be taken out by somebody who doesn't have the skills. It's been a bigger problem this year, I think, because of the lack of snow and everybody being funneled onto just a few runs.
So skiers of very different abilities are on the same place.
Yeah, and in some cases are put onto runs that they're not ready for. It's hopefully going to be solved with a little more snow this morning. We're following both of those stories with the help of our Adam Small.
5:39, we have emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Andy?
Amanda, I-15 closed from Santaquin to Payson on the northbound side only as they work on cleaning up a semi that overturned and had a fatal issue with it. So for the time being, you've got to use State Street between Santaquin and Payson. And there is some backup now. People, you will have some wait time before you're able to get off the freeway and onto the city street to go back and join up. The rest of the way from Provo, Springville, Spanish Fork, all the way to Point of the Mountain, that's the minimum travel time at the moment. Heather?
We do have a little bit of slowing on Legacy Parkway northbound between Centerville and Farmington. That is due to lane restrictions. They've started a little bit earlier than normal today. Southbound I-15 has most of your traffic, though, and it's all traveling at speed from Ogden to Salt Lake. No congestion that I see yet getting into Hill Air Force Base at any of the gates. Eric?
In Salt Lake Valley, you just be careful on these overpasses and ramps. Those might be a little slicker than the other spots, but 215 Beltwood looks good on all sides as long as you're careful. I-80 out into the mountains, not seeing any delay spots, but if you're exiting at Kimball Junction, right there at the end of the exit ramp, you see some snow on the road, so another spot to be wary of. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
As a storm passes through the Four Corners area, we do have enough instability in northern Utah to kick off some clouds and even flurries today with a high of 37. Overnight, 28 mostly cloudy. Tomorrow, 37 with snow showers likely. Yes, we could see 1 to 2 inches. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I actually had a white dusting on the lawn this morning and had to scrape the windshield. We're at freezing now. Downtown, 32 degrees.
Well, immigration is certainly a major issue right now with all that. Yesterday, did we set a record in December for the number of migrants coming across?
302,000.
In 1 month. But is an increase in crime part of this complicated problem? We'll talk to Brad Garrett about it next.
Stay with us. You'll find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Boyd Matheson invites you to go beyond the headlines.
Is this a fake fight? Is this a false choice? Is this performative politics just so someone can get some clicks? We have to get to the principles and policies. That's what really matters. Is it performative or is it principled?
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
KSL News Time, 5:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the family of a woman seriously hurt at a Utah ski resort is calling on others to slow down on the slopes, with these kinds of collisions becoming more and more common around the country. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the Pac-12 commissioner spoke to reporters for the first time in months now that the majority of teams in the conference are leaving.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 closed northbound Santaquin to Payson from a semi-rollover crash. We've got extra slowdowns out in Tooele County, especially along I-80, foggy conditions and wet roads, and several other spots along the drive to deal with as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies with flurries today, but accumulating snow tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
32 at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Former President Bill Clinton's name appeared in documents released that relate to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. One Epstein victim, Virginia Giuffre, did not accuse Clinton of wrongdoing, but her attorney said that he was a key person who could provide information about Epstein and his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. ABC's Aaron Katursky has more.
There are more documents to come later today. Giuffre's lawyer has said the public has rightly demanded to know how Epstein operated his vast global sex trafficking enterprise and got away with it for so long.
Former President Trump has said he knew Epstein like others did in Palm Beach, Florida. He's not accused of wrongdoing. He's seeking another term in the White House and asked the Supreme Court to overturn the Colorado decision that bars him from the state primary ballot. And the U.S. says it was not involved in blasts in Iran that killed at least 95 people during a ceremony for a military commander killed in a U.S. strike. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth now. Immigration is a hot-button issue for lawmakers right now.
ABC News crime and terrorism analyst Brad Garrett joins us live, and he's been looking at crime numbers associated with immigrants. This issue often comes up. Brad, should it?
Well, it shouldn't come up in the context that it does, from my perspective. It's the immigration issue, as you both know, is so unbelievably complicated. And it's not something that has a ready fix. Are there things that we can do better? Of course. But it doesn't help to distort facts to create information to create fear in people, and it becomes a sideshow. So, I mean, how many politicians, including the former president, have talked at length about how immigration has raised significantly the crime rate, particularly the violent crime rate in this country. And the numbers just don't play out. When you look at incarceration rates, I've looked at a number of studies. Stanford did one, and they found that immigrants are 30% less likely to be incarcerated than U.S.-born white individuals and 60% less likely to be incarcerated than black Americans. And so I think it's important to understand that. I'm not suggesting there aren't people that come into this country and commit crime. Of course they do, because it's a large number of people that come into the country. I mean, any large population is going to have all sorts of people mixed in with it. All I'm suggesting is keep it in perspective, and it isn't the reason you need to fix immigration. There's 1,000 other reasons why you need to fix it. But let's talk about what's real and what isn't, which tends to be a challenge today.
Yeah, here's what's real. Mayor Adams in New York the other day was speaking to this. As resources are either stretched or unavailable, then you get desperation that sets in, and that does lead to crime.
Well, there is no doubt. I mean, there is no doubt. Again, let's be clear. The volume of people coming in is just not acceptable. We don't know how to handle them. We don't have the resources to handle them, and there are cities like New York, like Chicago. I mean, there's a number of cities that are really in financial trouble because of the volume of immigrants they're having to deal with. I get all that. I just want people to understand that, there's two areas. One is the crime that I'm talking about, and the other is when you start to look at, the employment rates in this country, that so many jobs that employers can't get Americans to fill are filled with immigrants, and apparently in a lot of situations are doing a great job. That doesn't mean that it's okay that they're here illegally or undocumented. But again, let's figure out what's real and what isn't here, and how can we sort of turn the tide on this. But we don't seem to be having, in my view, the right conversations to do that.
So you see it as this is an economic challenge more than a law enforcement challenge?
From my perspective, the answer is yes. I mean, the Border Patrol agents intercept people every day that are criminals, okay? I'm not suggesting otherwise. Some of them are wanted in other countries, and they have to deal with that. But I just to put that at the top of the plate, or to put employment also at the top of the plate, that it's stealing jobs here, is a distraction in my view. And let's look at, what can we do, or what we're willing to do? Because I think the reason we have these distractions, well, first of all, it creates fear in people to follow certain folks. But the other is it's just not an easily fixable thing. I mean, the idea that you can simplistically build a wall is not realistic. First of all, the topography alone won't let you build a solid wall. And even if you had that, could you really turn the tide of immigration the way we deal with it now? And the answer is no. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't build barriers and walls, but we need to be realistic about what works, what doesn't, and follow a more rational path.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Brad. Unfortunately, in a presidential election year, this performative politics that our buddy Boyd Matheson often talks about here on the airwaves of KSL is something we're just going to have to deal with over the next 10 months, 11 months or so. Brad Garrett is the ABC crime and terrorism analyst helping us out this morning on the In-Depth at 15 to 45. All right, it's emergency traffic to start your Thursday morning. Let's take a look at traffic and weather, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Handy, it's pacing that's the problem.
Yeah, North 15, you're going to be forced off in Santaquin. That's where we have the backups on I-15 right now, as the exit ramp backed up onto the main flow, and then you can just follow State Street all the way up into Payson and then get back to I-15. The crash itself is near the 800 South exit, but you get on the freeway at 800 South, you'll be fine. And at this point right now, no other delays between Payson and Point of the Mountain for traffic in Utah County. Heather?
Well, we've got the delays now trying to get into Hill Air Force Base at the West Gate in Clearfield. That extends on from Main Street North up to 650 North and then all the way over into the gate itself. Southbound I-15 still has most of your traffic, but everybody's at speed, so you're less than 30 minutes between Ogden and downtown Salt Lake. Eric.
Still got some slick and slow spots on I-80 between the two Grantsville exits if you're on Tualatin County this morning. SR-36 has had some slushy spots as well, and a little bit of slowing now and right before you get onto the freeway if you're out in Lake Point. For Salt Lake County, drivers I-15 looks good from Draper and Sandy all the way up to downtown Salt Lake City, although there are wet spots. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, cold with an active pattern setting up. 37 today. We'll go mostly cloudy skies with flurries and really not much in the way of accumulation. Snow showers likely for your Friday starting around the lunch hour. 37 the high. 33 cloudy for most of the day Saturday. Then Saturday night snow moves in. Snow likely on Sunday, especially in the morning. 31's all we get for a high. 29 on Monday. Partly cloudy skies. It looks dry. Mostly cloudy and 34 on Tuesday gives way to more snow showers and potentially some really cold air working in on Wednesday, Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Come on in, cold air.
Yeah.
Come on in.
As long as you're bringing snow with you, I don't care at all.
Right now it's 32 downtown, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We'll check money news coming up next.
Deb, you may not believe this, but I actually do like to eat healthy food. I feel better when I eat healthy, and I do feel full.
I want you to start off 2024 the right way. Log on to fedupkitchen.com, and you can order clean, macro-based, low-calorie meals. Not only that, they have treats and green drinks.
And they're prepared fresh in their Salt Lake City kitchen.
Order today, and they'll be ready for pickup or delivery tomorrow.
It's healthy eating made easy with Fed Up Kitchen.
You can save time, you can save money, and get results with their delicious meals. And like we said, they are made fresh daily.
And because it's the holidays, we want to make sure there's a little gift for you. You can save 20% on your first order. All you have to do is use the promo code KSL at fedupkitchen.com.
That's right. Go to fedupkitchen.com, put in promo code KSL, and you're going to get 20% off your first order.
Take the guesswork out of healthy eating. Go to fedupkitchen.com and use the promo code KSL.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get
the power of a cut above.
Decades of expertise to transform your home. From so-so to virtuoso.
The power of neighborhood painters.
We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put
the power of pro
to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Markets today are mixed, and that's a good thing because they have been down the first 2 trading days of the year. We're up, actually, a little bit on the Dow, up 103. The S&P is up 6.5. The NASDAQ still trailing, though. It's off 8.25.
Chick-fil-A prices went up 21% in just the last 2 years. The CEO says the rising costs of ingredients, packaging, and transportation have led to the increase.
It is time this morning for Cougar Tracks. Here's KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper.
Coming into this BYU basketball season, expectations were low after finishing with 19 wins a year ago. Big 12 coaches tapped BYU to finish 13th out of 14 teams this year. After non-conference play, BYU finds themselves with a 12-1 record, the best start to a season in 35 years for the program. Now the gauntlet of the Big 12 awaits this weekend. Head coach Mark Pope lays out his expectations for the Cougars' inaugural Big 12 slate.
I expect that we're going to learn a lot. I expect that we're going to be stretched to the point of barely being able to exist on the planet Earth. I have huge expectations for this. This is why you do it. You know, my expectations are this is going to feel like when you go play at the most elite level available to you in college basketball, and that's where we're going.
For more on BYU's first year in the Big 12 Conference, go to KSLSports.com and subscribe to the Cougar Tracks podcast. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com.
This week, win $250 cash. That's right. We're giving you a chance at New Year's cash just for subscribing to our text database. Or
win lower bowl tickets to an upcoming jazz game.
Catch select jazz games right here on KSL News Radio. Plus, win tickets to the Piano Guys, coming September to the Sandy Amphitheater. What are you waiting for?
Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Emergency traffic, Andy.
We've got a crash that's blocked the freeway, North 15, going from Santaquin to Payson. All traffic being forced off I-15 at that exit 244 in Santaquin. And there's a backup onto the main flow. It's going to be a bit of a wait before you can get moving and up into Payson itself. We've got a new crash as well going from Linden into Pleasant Grove. Looks like this one just happened. We've got the HOV and the left shoulder blocked in Pleasant Grove. No delay behind this yet, but emergency crews have yet to arrive on the scene. Heather?
Counties, but we do have a lot of backup trying to get into Hill Air Force Base at the West Gate in Clearfield. Both Main Street and 650 North, they're backed up for several blocks, but you shouldn't have any difficulty once you get onto a freeway. Eric?
I-15 Salt Lake County is still moving along at a decent pace. I-80 into the mountains. You've got snow falling again in Lambs Canyon, but right now you're at a regular rate of speed going out to Park City. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
40s are gone. We'll be in the 30s all but one day this week, and that's Monday when the temperature only climbs to 29. It's freezing out there, 32 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
A child advocate group is calling on lawmakers to vastly expand who qualifies for Utah's child tax credit, even more so than the governor did in his yearly proposed budget.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, after the monthly help from the Federal Rescue Plan a couple of years ago, Utah, as of last year, became just one of 13 states to institute its own child tax credit. Now, under the new law, families making no more than $54,000 a year can claim $1,000 for kids between 1 and 3 years old on their yearly taxes. Or if you make more, you can get the credit, but it's lessened based on your income. Now, Governor Spencer Cox wants to expand the credit to families with kids up to 5 years old. But Voices for Utah Children tell KSL.com they wanted to also include newborns. They say by just adding kids under 1 year old, it encompasses more than double the amount of kids under the governor's plan. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Longtime Salt Lake NAACP President Janetta Williams says she's running for Utah's House of Representatives in District 26. She says she's choosing to run now because the people of the west side of the valley deserve an advocate. Williams is challenging West Valley Representative Matt McPherson.
Roosevelt Mayor Ron Bird Jr. says he's ending his run for the Senate and instead running for the House of Representatives. He'll be trying to replace John Curtis, who announced this week he is running for the Senate.
And the breaking news surrounding that accident on Payson, or in Payson, we've been telling you about, where 2 people were killed in a crash on I-15. That crash involved a sedan and a semi-truck, and KSL TV's Mike Anderson is there on the scene.
The semi was heading northbound early this morning, veered off into the middle, and state troopers say he overcorrected, swerving back right and then rolled. Moments later, a red sedan crashed into the trailer. Sergeant Cameron Roden tells us the driver simply didn't see the rolled semi in time to stop. 3 adult females were inside. Both the driver and front passenger died. The backseat passenger taken to a hospital in critical condition. And what's making this scene difficult to clear up is the fact that the semi trailer is smashed and still fully loaded.
Mike says the Highway Patrol isn't sure why the semi-truck swerved in the first place.
A Utah judge rules that murder charges are dismissed against a woman who shot and killed a 27-year-old professional bull rider, Demetrius Allen.
3rd District Judge dropped those murder charges against 23-year-old LaShawn Denise Bagley, who called 911 early morning of September 22, 2022, telling dispatch she was shooting an intruder. DA claimed it was Allen, and he was just retrieving his belongings, but the judge said Bagley was justified, as she is a smaller person, lived in a high-crime area on the ground floor, floor, and it was midnight. According to Utah law, a person charged with the crime of unlawful use of force can request a justification hearing. The law shifts the decision about whether someone acted in defense of themselves or someone else from a jury to a judge. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. Former President Donald Trump is asking the Supreme Court to overturn the ruling that he can't appear on the state's GOP primary ballot in Colorado. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has details.
Lawyers for the former president say it shouldn't be up to state officials or courts to determine who's eligible to run for president, especially when it comes to whether one engaged in insurrection. They note the 14th Amendment allows Congress by a two-thirds vote to permit someone who did engage in insurrection to then serve. Trump's filing says that's proof that the final word on this rests with the House and Senate, and that allowing officials in every state to decide would be, quote, a recipe for bedlam and voter confusion.
Former President Trump was also removed from the ballot in Maine.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Well, we got a couple of crashes in Utah County on the northbound side. Now, the one that's closed the freeway is still between Payson and Santaquin. Excuse me, Santaquin and Payson. That's the direction you're going. And then the other crash has happened just before the Pleasant Grove exit, and we've got a couple of left lanes blocked and the left shoulder. At this point, not a huge delay behind it going from Orem up into Pleasant Grove, but that could change. I'm Andy Farnsworth on the KSL Traffic Center.
Court documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are starting to be released, revealing the names of powerful people who were associated with Epstein.
Some of the names are people that may have just worked for Jeffrey Epstein and may have seen something or heard something and lawyers wanted to talk to them. Some may be additional victims that lawyers at the time wanted to talk to. Some may be people who flew on Epstein's private plane, people like former President Bill Clinton, who has never been accused of any wrongdoing as part of his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky says Epstein was accused of abusing young girls and women for years.
Intermountain Health has been named among the best large healthcare providers in the U.S. Details from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
The award from Fortune and Pink AI highlights health systems whose practices and procedures serve as a model for improving care and saving lives. A release from Intermountain Health claims if all health systems across the country operated as well as those in the top 15, more than 200,000 additional lives could have been saved during 2023.
The Mayo Clinic ranked first, Intermountain Health ranked third.
It was a crazy game at the Delta Center last night between the Jazz and the Pistons. It went to OT. KSL News Radio's Michael Commett is live with the details. Michael?
Tim, the Jazz held off the Pistons 154-148 for the home win. Detroit was shooting pretty hot throughout the game, and they managed to send it into overtime at the buzzer. But the Jazz got the upper hand after Jordan Clarkson landed a three and put the Jazz ahead by 7.
They've won 20 games at times, Searle. Here's JC, leans in. Got it! Boom! Are you kidding me? I gotta say it.
This game also saw Bojan Bogdanovic return to the Jazz and put 36 points on the board. Reporting live, Michael Commett, KSL News Radio.
Man, I love that sound.
I feel bad for Bojan. You know, he gets stuck on that team that just ended a 28-game streak, and he's such a great player.
And he had a good night last night.
Yeah. Nice to see.
For sure. Coming up, we do have a new crash in Utah County blocking 2 left lanes of northbound I-15. That's as you're approaching the Pleasant Grove exit. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double-pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
Let's see, we are 12 days away from the legislative session, which kicks off on the 16th, and already something to watch for. It's the expansion of Utah's child tax credit. The governor actually put it into his budget proposal, and Adam Small has the details for us throughout the morning. KSL News Time now 6:09. Still emergency traffic. Might be this way for a while. Let's check your traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Yeah, we're hoping to get the freeway open by 7, but right now it's still closed between Santaquin and Payson, so you'll be in backups on I-15 as you approach the Santaquin exit. And then we've got a crash in Pleasant Grove on northbound 15. It's actually just before the Pleasant Grove exit. But at the moment, traffic having to move to the right, it hasn't created a big backup behind it, but there are 2 left lanes blocked on the northbound 15 Pleasant Grove stretch. Heather?
No crashes reported in Weber and Davis counties, but traffic is definitely filling in on I-15 southbound. Still 30 minutes or less, though, between Ogden and Salt Lake. Still quite a bit of congestion trying to get into the west gate of Hill Air Force Base in Clearfield, but the delays have eased up just a little bit. They're not quite as long. And you've got good speeds if you're taking US 89 or Legacy Parkway. Eric?
In Salt Lake County, we've got good movement from Point of the Mountain and Bluffdale all the way up to the downtown area. The 215 Belt Route also is in decent shape. Out in Tooele County, you still have slowdown spots on I-80 between Grantsville and Lake Point. And going into the mountains, I-80 through Partley's Canyon, we do have some wet spots and snow still falling in parts of Lambs Canyon, so be careful. But right now, you've got a decent travel time going out to the Kimball Junction exit. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on Fed South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies today with flurries likely. Not much in the way of accumulation. Highs top out at only 37 degrees. 28 overnight. We'll go mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 37, and we've got a boundary moving in. That'll produce at least 1 to 2 inches of snow. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right on the freezing mark here in downtown Salt Lake City, 32 degrees.
This is interesting, Tim. So U-Haul compiles the numbers because people rent U-Hauls when they move to tell us where in the country people are moving to the most.
They're renting the one-way U-Haul to get out.
Right. We'll have more on that with Jim Ryan just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us. You'll find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
See the high-flying dunks, show-stopping blocks, and crowd-silencing threes at Delta Center this season. With an action-packed schedule, it's easy to get to a Jazz game. Pick out an unmissable matchup, or just a tip-off time that works for you. It's time to put on your Jazz gear and head to the game. Come with a friend, a loved one, or as a group. See all available tickets and options at UtahJazz.com or call or text 801-355-DUNK.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We can have disagreements and still be friends. So often, I think people think that just because we disagree, that we're enemies. That we are not. We're great friends, even though we disagree.
I hope listeners take away something new every day, a new detail they hadn't heard before. And I also hope our show opens their minds to new ideas, new ways of thinking of things.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials, like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Dave and Dujanovic.
One of the best ways to get listeners involved in the conversation is to have a clear opinion.
Listener participation. We invite phone calls all the time, and Dave and we're learning things from them too.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 6:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
a child advocate group is calling for lawmakers to vastly expand who qualifies for Utah's child tax credit even further than the governor did in his yearly budget. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, 2 people are dead and a third taken to the hospital in critical condition after a sedan hit an overturned semi-truck on I-15 in Payson.
Third, let's look at your traffic and weather together here.
And that closure's got traffic backed up at the Santaquin exit, and then you have to take State Street into Payson. A crash in Pleasant Grove affecting northbound 15 just before the Pleasant Grove exit. And wet and foggy conditions affecting I-80 out in Tooele County as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're right on schedule today with cloudy skies and some flurries. Cold. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 32 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Former President Bill Clinton was among the famous names included in the first batch of documents released that relate to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. One victim's lawyers, while not accusing Clinton of any wrongdoing, said he was a key person who could provide information about Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell. ABC legal analyst Dan Abrams explains why these names are coming out now.
A long-standing legal fight over whether these names should be released. I mean, a lot of this information has been out, right? The question was, who's who?
ABC's Eric Katursky says another Epstein accuser names some of those names.
When asked about meeting other famous people, she said she met Michael Jackson at Epstein's house in Palm Beach. And when she was asked, did you ever massage Donald Trump? Schoberg responded, no.
The former president has said he knew Epstein like others did in Palm Beach. Meanwhile, he's appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court as he seeks to overturn the Colorado decision barring him from the state's ballot. ABC's Rachel Scott has more.
Trump asking the Supreme Court to return the right to vote for their candidate of choice to the voters. Here in Iowa, voters will soon have their say. Trump leads by 30 points. Meanwhile, in New Hampshire, polls show former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley pulling into second place.
President Biden planned to launch the 2024 version of his re-election bid with a speech at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where the White House said he would depict former President Trump as a threat to democracy. But that speech has been moved up to Friday because of the threat of snow. Congressional Republicans were at the southern border calling for more action from the Biden administration. House Speaker Mike Johnson said,
"It was estimated on our tour just a moment ago that if the Biden administration would reinstate just the Remain in Mexico policy, it could stem the flow by probably 70% or more. But he refuses to do it."
You're listening to ABC News.
Let's go in depth here. One-way moving truck rentals are giving an insight right now to recent moving patterns.
ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan joins us live. So where are folks headed, Jim?
Texas. The long and short is Texas. At least that's the state finding of all of this. U-Haul looks at 2.5 million of its rentals every year. 2.5 million trucks and trailers are rented from U-Haul. A lot of those are one-way rentals, of course. The assumption being that if you're renting it in one location, turning it in at another location, but not coming back, you intend to stay there. So Texas, yes, comes out at the top of the top growth state among these among states. And second place is Florida, then North Carolina.
For a while, this was blamed on the pandemic, but can we really do that at this point?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, since the pandemic, the effect has been that fewer people are moving around, fewer truck rentals, according to U-Haul. So that has been dropping off somewhat. But in terms of the moving patterns, it really hasn't changed that much. In 6 of the last 8 years, Texas has come out on top. In the third consecutive year, Florida has always very near the top as well. It's interesting, though. North Carolina, South Carolina are the number 3 and number 4 relocation destinations.
Does it tell us which state it gets the fewest people moving to it?
Well, not necessarily the fewest people, but the more people moving out.
Oh.
California has more people, and it's been that way for some time as well. Fourth year in a row, California had the most net loss. Michigan, New Jersey, Illinois, Massachusetts, and then New York State. All of those had more people moving out than moving back in.
I guess U-Haul wouldn't have these kinds of statistics, but is it taxes? Is that what it is?
Hard to say. No, it doesn't break it down. It doesn't break it down by age either, or by much of anything except these hard numbers. Interestingly, though, Texas, while it may be the number one location state, it's not the number one location city. Florida has at the top of the list. Melbourne, Florida is the top relocation destination. Ocala, Florida is in second place. You don't find a Texas city until 5th at Austin, Texas. So, yeah, Texas is the number one state, but it doesn't have the number one relocation cities.
What's going on in Melbourne?
I don't know.
I got to check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we're missing something.
All right, Jim, thank you. We have good friends, coworkers who just up and moved to Florida in retirement.
And my brother lives relatively near there. I think he lives in, is it Sebring, Florida, which I think is in the middle of the state, somewhat near where Ocala is, I think. I'll have to check that on a map.
Yeah, going for the sunshine, going for the lower taxes, who knows? Always interesting, though. ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan there on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
6:19, we have emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay.
Well, delays are increasing now on that northbound crash in Pleasant Grove just before the exit. You've still got the 2 left lanes blocked, and so there's some delay behind that. But the bigger issue in Utah County, a little further south, traffic approaching Santaquin from south of that is being forced off into Payson on the city street because of a semi that's rolled in Payson at the very south end. So in the meantime, you've got backups exiting the freeway in Santaquin and then slow all the way up to 800 south before you can go get back on I-15. Heather?
No delays yet on the freeways in Weber and Davis counties, although traffic is definitely filling in, seeing quite a bit more traffic southbound I-15 from Clearfield into Farmington. No problem, though, if you need to get to the airport using Legacy Parkway and the West Side Belt. The congestion we had at the west gate of Hill Air Force Base, that has eased up a little bit, but you're still going to see a block or two of delay trying to get into the base. Eric?
Got slowdowns continuing on I-80 in Tooele County. This is between the far west Grantsville exit and Lake Point, on and off slowdowns. So people are still trying to navigate their way over slushy roads, so it seems. SR 36, a little bit of northbound slowing at the 138 junction. That's in Stansbury Park, but it's better now at Lake Point getting onto the freeway. I-15 in Salt Lake County from Bluffdale up to downtown looking good, and right now I-80 out to the mountains, we're not seeing any delays going out to Park City. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection. 4 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See it all at performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast is full of cold air and snow chances. Love to see it. 37 today with flurries likely. 37 tomorrow with snow showers moving in right around that lunch hour. 33 and cloudy skies for most of the day on Saturday, and we could see some snow move in Saturday night. 31 cold on Sunday, snow likely, especially in the morning. 29 partly cloudy on Monday, dry on Tuesday again, 34. Then we bring in more snow on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 32 downtown, and your 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Sebring isn't next to Ocala. What was I thinking? Ocala is like 139 miles north of where my brother lives. Not that anybody cares about this. It's smack dab in the middle of the state.
Yeah.
So Ocala is up there near a national forest, the Ocala National Forest. Wow, that's interesting. You know, you forget how big Florida is.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I lived in Fort Lauderdale as a kid, just driving just until you get to Georgia is a day.
Yeah, that's north and south. East and west, not
so
bad.
much. Yeah.
But boy, the humidity. I just don't think I could deal with it.
Oh, it is. It's living in Florida in the summer was really a challenge. As a young person, I can't imagine living there now.
We discovered a year ago when we went to see the Utes play the Florida Gators why they call that stadium the Swamp.
Oh, right.
Oh,
the
my
humidity.
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
And it had rained right up until game time. And my buddy who does the outdoor show with me every week, people here on KSL, Navi, who has some respiratory issues, he called me and he said, Tim, I might die.
Oh, no.
He says, seriously, this air is so thick, I can't breathe. I might die here.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You got to get used to it. Yeah. Coming up in a minute, we'll see what's happening with money news. It looks like the markets are off to a mixed start. KSL News Time, 6:23.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Sonic isn't afraid to try out new items, and now, are you ready for this, Tim? It's a peanut butter bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, I don't know.
My daughter puts peanut butter on everything.
Yeah.
Including pickles.
Well, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
You know, Elvis had a sandwich that he loved to eat, and it was mayo, pickles, and peanut butter.
Okay, I'm going to tell Laurel now that she's cool.
You can find that recipe online.
It'll be available, by the way, this peanut butter bacon cheeseburger on Monday, and only stick around for a month. If you want something to wash it down with, try the peanut butter bacon shake.
Oh, my gosh, no. The beginning of tax season just a few weeks away. Around 75% of Americans get a refund. The IRS says the quickest way to get that is direct deposit. Last year, the average refund was around $2,700. I've never seen that in my life. Down 8.6% from the previous year.
Peloton is partnering with TikTok to offer short-form workout videos accessible to everyone. This follows the exercise company's attempt to rebrand and gain members after losing more than 30,000 members last year.
All right, I mentioned a minute ago the markets are mixed, and that's good after the first couple of days of the year's trading because they've been down big. We were off 0.8 to 1 full percentage point at the close yesterday. The Dow is up this morning, however, by 100 points. The S&P is up just 4. The Nasdaq still trailing. It's off 26.
We have 2 northbound crashes on I-15 in Utah County. One from much earlier that's still diverting traffic off the freeway. That's in Santaquin. We'll check that in the rest of your commute just ahead.
Here's to everyone who was made to shine from Shane Company. To wearing your lucky gold chain to the game. To receiving your first communion in your new pearls. Here's to getting down on one knee. To recommitting to forever, to saying yes to something sparkly just for you, just because. Here's to your first set of diamond studs, to the family heirloom you'll never take off. Here's to lighting up the room like only you can. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Enroll in Farm Bureau Financial Services Driveology, and you'll instantly save 10% on your auto insurance premium. Over time, your safe driving habits could earn you even bigger savings, up to 50%. Learn more and start saving with Driveology at fbfs.com/save. 10% savings applied at enrollment for select coverages. Future savings based on individual driving behaviors and varies by coverages selected. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Jeff Kaplan.
I'm blessed that KSL has given me the freedom to talk about whatever I want. Literally, it is my minute of news. It might be something bizarre that you didn't know. Sometimes it's pegged to what's happening that very day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio. We're just days away.
State lawmakers are already hard at work on a number of bills,
making decisions that affect you.
Utah's 2024 legislative session starts in January. Get updates on every bill with Tim and Amanda mornings and Jeff Kaplan afternoons. Eye on the Hill 2024
on KSL News Radio.
It's emergency traffic here at 629, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy, we're focusing on Payson still, I guess.
Yeah, the freeway's closed for a few miles between Santaquin and Payson because of a semi-rollover, and all traffic is now backed up for about a mile trying to exit the freeway at Santaquin, which is where they will force you off. And there's not really a lot of good alternates. If you're coming up on the freeway out of Nephi and stuff, you really can't exit the freeway in too many spots prior to Santaquin anyway. Then we've got a crash in Pleasant Grove just before the PG exit that's now been moved over as far to the left as possible, but I don't see anybody using the HOV lane at the moment. Heather?
No delays in Weber and Davis County on the freeways. I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway, they're all at speed, as well as I-84 through the mountains to and from Morgan, although some of those roads may be a little bit slick and icy from fog and overnight snowfall. But we do still have a bit of congestion trying to get into the west gate of Hill Air Force Base from 650 north. Eric?
Got some Mountain View corridor slowing in Salt Lake County, 7800 south, and also at 54th south. I-15 remains good from Bluffdale through Murray all the way to downtown. And over on the 215 Belt Route, it's in good shape for northbounders both on the west side and east side. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that weather forecast. We have a chance of snow. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's down to 4 now, Tim. 4 of the next 7 days. But we'll take it. Today we have some snow in the forecast. Better chance tomorrow. Then a little bit cloudy on Saturday. More snow on Sunday. Then we clear out a little bit until we get another storm system in here next Wednesday. So there's a lot of snow in the 7-day for a change. Right now it's 32 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A family is calling on people to slow down on the slopes after their daughter was seriously hurt at a Utah resort. Something experts say is becoming more and more common everywhere.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more for us live. Adam?
Amanda, Karen Farron says her daughter, 27-year-old Sydney Ross, is now back from the hospital after sustaining a traumatic brain injury on the slopes of Brighton Resort last month. Farron tells KSL TV to this day they still don't know who hit her.
Did not stop, did not come back to see how she was doing. From what we know, did not check in with ski patrol.
Now, unfortunately, these types of collisions are becoming more common all around the country. The National Ski Areas Association says there were 53 catastrophic injuries last season, about 19% above average. Going too fast was a common factor in those. Unified Police are still investigating who hit Ross, but in the meantime, her family is just asking people to slow down. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Snow is finally falling along the Wasatch Front, which will help our ski resorts expand those runs on the mountain and help our overall snowpack. But KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says the best chance of accumulating that snow in the valley is this weekend.
A break for most of the day on Saturday, but by Saturday night, snow showers starting to increase. Most of the snowfall will be Saturday night into Sunday morning. That storm could pick up a solid 1 to 4 inches if things pan out correctly. We take a break Monday, Tuesday, then a colder storm on Wednesday of next week. That'll bring another several inches to the Wasatch Front.
As far as temperatures go, highs will be in the 30s throughout the rest of the week.
A locally owned shoe store is struggling after someone stole $50,000 worth of merchandise from a storage unit. KSL TV's Debbie Worthen has the story.
Liz Reyes had her entire inventory at Extra Space Storage in Saratoga Springs. She says the company now tells her they don't have security footage, even though they list surveillance as a selling point on their website. She says her unit is directly in front of a camera and at the front of the facility.
Reyes says running a business is stressful enough, and this robbery has been gut-wrenching.
Now our top national stories this hour. Newly unsealed court documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case included some high-profile names.
Giuffre's attorneys sought to depose Clinton as part of her 2016 lawsuit against Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, because her attorneys argued Clinton is a key person who can provide information about his close relationship with Maxwell and Epstein and disapprove Maxwell's claims. Giuffre made no allegations of wrongdoing against Clinton, contradicting a previous claim when she said she flew with Clinton and the Secret Service in a helicopter. According to Maxwell's unsealed deposition, she said the allegations that Clinton had dinner on Epstein's private island were 100% false.
ABC's Andrew Dimmert says other names found in the documents included former President Trump, Michael Jackson, and David Copperfield.
Investigators are still trying to figure out how a man was able to get through secured doors at the Salt Lake International Airport and climb into a plane engine. Kyle Effinger's father tells KSL-TV he was bipolar and suffering a manic episode.
If he was bleeding in the airport or choking on his burrito, he would have found help immediately, and it would have been good professional help. We still do not have enough trained professionals to come help someone who's having a manic attack.
Kyler was on his way to see his dying grandfather, but he missed his flight. His family believes the stress is what caused the attack.
It was a big year for car dealers. ABC's Daria Albinger explains why.
Americans bought 15.6 million new vehicles last year. Cox Automotive says that's 12% more than 2022 and the biggest increase in over a decade. It's also despite high prices, rising interest rates, a UAW strike, and a computer chip shortage.
Sales were around 17 million a year pre-pandemic.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Well, we still have the closure of northbound I-15 in Santa Quin-Payson area. Everybody's being detoured off the freeway. A bit further north, I-15 in Utah County, there's still a crash just before the Pleasant Grove exit. The HOV lane and left shoulder remain blocked. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
In sports, the president of the Pac-12 has been silent for months after most of the teams in the conference announced they were leaving. But he finally opened up to a few reporters after the Sugar Bowl. KSL News Radio's Michael Committee is live with more. Michael?
Tim, George Kliavkoff finally gave his thoughts months after Pac-12 began to unravel because of the failed media rights negotiations with ESPN. When reporters caught up to him after Washington's playoff-securing win against Texas, he placed the blame on the schools. He told Yahoo, quote, "If some of our schools would have been a little more patient, it would have paid off," close quote. Despite blaming the schools, he wasted no time taking credit for Pac-12's wild success this season, calling it, quote, surreal. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
The Ogden Nature Center is teaming up with a bird and bat migration tracking system called MODIS.
We put these little tags on them, and within 15 minutes, we can send these little guys back out into the wild to just do their little bird things, do their little bat things, whatever they need.
The center's conservation director, Maya Pendleton, says using this technology to track migration patterns will help them with conservation efforts.
I love that. Do their own little bat things, their own bird things. We know where they're going. We don't know what they're up to. Utah makes the top 10 for states with habits that lead to good brain health. We get the details from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
In looking for the top states with lifestyles promoting brain health, LifeExtension.com looked at 7 different factors. Among those are children under the age of 5 who are being read to every night, reading for pleasure, and frequency of exercise. The report ranks Utah 9th overall for healthy brain habits.
Data for the study comes from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention.
We have minimum delays in Linden despite that northbound 15 crash that's been moved over to the left barrier. We'll check that and the rest of your commute just ahead.
What is the NPS store? Let me tell you. It's a large warehouse and online store with items from everyday necessities to unique products. NPS has everything from home decor to clothes, furniture, electronics, hardware, groceries, and more. NPS receives new items daily, so it's always a different experience. Each time you shop, it's the best kept secret in Utah. NPS, a nice place to always save on all the things you didn't know you needed. Savings that can't be beat. 4 locations to serve you. Salt Lake, Orem, Layton. See you soon.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive? Revive Men's Health can help you make it happen with our new cutting-edge weight loss medications like your favorite athletes and celebrities use. They're affordable and available now. And since your testosterone level has a direct impact on your weight and fitness, get a free T-check and free exam. Book your appointment today at Revive Salt Lake. We know we can help you. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Tim and Amanda.
In 20 minutes of listening to Utah's Morning News, you'll hear every breaking story that's happening.
To travel to work, you're going to find out how much time it's going to take you to get there.
You'll hear stories that help you address the problems, not just what the problems are.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
A stranger with a gun fires on 2 teens, shattering lives. But that's only the beginning of the story. Listen to The Letter at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, if you're just joining us this morning, a timely reminder about skiing safely. We talk about driving safely, but this story, the family just struggling because their daughter was hit blindsided, really, by somebody who didn't even stop. And has been in the hospital for 3 months, finally home, but going to have a long recovery. We'll tell you more about that story with Adam Small.
6:39 now. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Amanda, Utah County North 15 closed. The big delay on the freeway there is going up towards the Santaquin exit where everyone's being forced off. Traffic, once you finally get onto State Street, which is what will take you up into Payson, you'll move pretty consistently, but it's exiting the freeway that's going to be the biggest wait. Crash cleanup continues on North 15. HOV lane is blocked just before Pleasant Grove. Right now, only minor slowdowns as people move over to the right lane to get around it. Heather?
Well, traffic is filling in. It's pretty busy now, southbound I-15 between Clearfield and Farmington. Haven't seen any brake lights yet in the Kaysville area. That's where we usually see the slowdowns first thing in the morning, but it hasn't happened quite yet. You'll also have a good drive on I-84 through the mountains and US 89, and city streets are getting pretty busy as well in Ogden and Clearfield. Eric?
Got wet conditions out in Tooele County, and you've got slowdowns now on SR 36 starting to build as you approach in Stansbury Park as you approach the 138 intersection. That's Mills Junction. If you're eastbound on I-80 from the Grantsville exits over towards Lake Point, that's also slow. So be careful out there. We've got slick spots, or at least the potential of them, so you're going to have to slow down a little bit. Salt Lake County drivers northbound I-15 right now, that's holding together at a normal rate of speed. Don't miss the amazing Utah Auto Expo, January 12th through 15th at the Mountain America Exposition Center. See the newest cars, trucks, electric vehicles, all in a non-selling environment. AutoExpoUtah.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yesterday's southern Utah storm delivered, but it brings some flurries to northern Utah today. Look for a high of 37. Not much in the way of accumulation. Overnight lows dipping off into the upper 20s will go mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 37. We've got snow showers likely, maybe 1 to 2 inches. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Not much of a change from overnight lows to daytime highs. It's already 34 downtown.
So House Speaker Mike Johnson and other lawmakers visited the southern border. We're going to talk with a reporter from News Nation. Allie Bradley will join us just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Also coming up, Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Back in 2004, got a letter from the IRS indicating that I was no longer married, and therefore they were to change my filing status to single.
We were really upset.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
As soon as we met Jordan and he started talking to us, number one, he made us feel like we weren't the imbeciles that the IRS had made us feel like for so many years.
I'm Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS tax nightmare.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
Visit taxhelput.com or call 801-657-5951 to schedule your free consultation today.
we can move forward with confidence and assurance that we're okay.
That's taxhelput.com.
It's marvelous, just marvelous.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News is brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
I know this is radio, but let's talk about the color of the year. Every December, the Pantone Institute consults a colorless crystal ball, and they reveal the most important hue in the spectrum, the one color shade that will influence car designers, clothing makers, and interior decorators. And this year, Pantone has decreed the perfect pigment is, well, here.
The 2024 Pantone Color of the Year is Peach Fuzz.
Huh? Peach fuzz. Even on the radio, you can likely envision peach fuzz in your mind. At this very moment, creative types are cranking out peach fuzz throw pillows and paints, purses and pumps. The Pantone Institute is the color authority. They're the ones who specify the exact place on the spectrum you find Dodger Blue, Goose Turd Green, and Drunk Tank Pink. Those are all official color names, and if you're curious how Pantone became the world's color authority, the answer is for the bird. In 1886, the Smithsonian gave ornithologist Robert Ridgway the job of describing all the birds in America. What's the first thing you notice? Their color. So Ridgway created workbooks full of hand-colored swatches to describe each bird. 1,000 swatches differentiating peacock blue from blue jay blue. In 1912, he published a book of swatches that gave rise to the Pantone Institute, paint chips, and finally Peach Fuzz, which they call a compassionate, nurturing color of the year filled with kindness. So anytime we broadcast news about war, pestilence, and hate, Pantone suggests you hug your peach-colored pillow or curl up under a peach fuzz blanket, and everything's going to be all right. We'll see.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
I don't understand color of the year.
Did he say one of the choices was Goose Turd Green?
Okay, I missed that.
Not sure when you go in and, specifically ask, do you have Goose Turd Green? Anything in Goose Turd Green? That'll get a reaction from somebody. Yeah. Jeff's back this afternoon, 3 to 7 o'clock here on KSL News Radio, where the news time is 6:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the Pac-12 commissioner spoke for the first time during this season about the conference's downfall. I'm KSL News Radio's Michael Kimmett.
Second, a child advocacy group says more kids need to be included on the governor's child tax credit proposal.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 closed from Santaquin to Payson, northbound only. A crash cleanup goes on in Pleasant Grove right now to the left. And we're seeing traffic increasing in volume, especially on the west side of the Salt Lake Valley. Slowdowns more than usual in Tooele County because of road conditions. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies with flurries today, but accumulating snow tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. More documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein could be released today. Documents released Wednesday included the name of former President Clinton. He's not accused of wrongdoing, but an attorney for an Epstein victim said he would be able to give more information on Epstein and his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. ABC's Aaron Katersky has more on some other names that turned up.
When asked about meeting other famous people, she said she met Michael Jackson at Epstein's house in Palm Beach. And when she was asked, did you ever massage Donald Trump? Schoberg responded, no.
The former president, who's not accused of wrongdoing, says he knew Epstein like others in Palm Beach. He's also asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the Colorado decision that bars him from the state primary ballot. House Republicans, after visiting the southern border, continue to call on President Biden to take more federal action. And Britain's prime minister says it appears the country will have a general election in the second half of the year. This is ABC News.
All right, let's go in depth here. House Speaker Mike Johnson and more than 60 other lawmakers visited the southern border to encourage Congress to pass some kind of legislation.
News Nation's Allie Bradley joins us live. What was that visit like, Allie?
Hi, guys. So the visit was really interesting. It was very, very busy. As you noted, there were 64 congressional lawmakers down here, and they were doing tours with Texas DPS. They were doing media interviews and things like that. But while we were down there, we were walking along with DPS. There was a select group of media allowed to kind of embed with them, and we were walking alongside the speaker, and there was a small group of Venezuelan migrants that were crossing right in front of them. And, you know, they kind of talked about the situation and what was going on down there in Operation Lone Star under Governor Greg Abbott, and just noting that the crossings were still happening, but just far fewer than what we had seen just a couple weeks ago. You remember down in Eagle Pass when we saw a massive influx where there were thousands of people waiting to be transported. Now, these congressional lawmakers noted that the scene was pretty effectively sanitized, so they say, that it was very much cleaned up, similar to what we saw in San Francisco when President Xi visited, similar to when we saw President Biden go down to El Paso. Things seem to kind of clean up pretty quickly when you have big visits like this. Now, one of the things that they talked about was the looming federal government shutdown and what that would look like. A lot of them were saying they aren't for a government shutdown, but they're prepared for one should the Biden administration and the Democratic Party not really bend to securing the border, if you will. And so they were noting that, but they were also bringing up the fact that impeachment proceedings were now being brought forth once again by Chairman Mark Green had just set those proceedings. The first one will take place on January 10th, but that's against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Now, you remember just a few months ago, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to do the same thing. That was basically shot down by 8 Republicans voting against it. So I asked Chairman Greene what that would look like, what the possibility would be for this to move forward this time. And he said he's optimistic. He said that they've got to basically sway 5 of these Republicans to vote differently, and he says he believes that they'll be able to do it. The visit took a couple of hours. We were out there for quite a while, but it seemed to be, we asked why now, why they thought they could make any change now, because one of the hosts of this group was Representative Tony Gonzalez, who represents Eagle Pass and part of El Paso, and a lot of the areas being really hit hard by illegal immigration. And that was his 21st congressional delegation that he had brought to the southern border. 21 times he's gone down there. And 3 years later, the numbers have only gone up. Sources confirmed to News Nation that 302,000 people crossed the southern border in December alone. The previous record was 269,000 in September. So those numbers continue to climb. Not much progress is being made in Congress. And so that's why they're kind of prepared for this government shutdown should they fail to secure any kind of policies or funding for border security.
Boy, Allie, that's good information. We appreciate your reporting. News Nation's Allie Bradley with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
6:49. We still have an emergency traffic situation, so let's check it here. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. And Andy's back in the traffic center.
I-15 backed up approaching the Santaquin exit where they'll force you off to head on State Street up into Payson because of a closure on I-15. We're hoping sometime in the 7 o'clock hour they'll reopen the main flow, but they haven't done that yet. North 15 also has a crash cleanup in Pleasant Grove just before the exit over to the far left. They still have the HOV lane blocked by emergency vehicles. Heather?
The only freeway I see with slowdowns in Weber and Davis County is Legacy Parkway northbound between Centerville and Farmington. The lane restrictions have already been affected for this morning, so you only have one right lane available to you. Otherwise, everybody else is moving at speed on I-15 southbound from Ogden to Salt Lake, as well as on US 89. City streets are getting pretty busy, though, especially if you're getting near a school zone. Eric.
I-15 continues to look good in Salt Lake County from Draper to the downtown area. That's despite some wet spots. You still need to be cognizant of that. 215 Bell Route on all sides looking good. The problem spot is out in Tooele County. This is for folks that are northbound on SR 36 in Stansbury Park and at Lake Point, and on I-80 eastbound from the Grantsville exits over to Lake Point. If you're on I-80 through the mountains, you do have some slow spots and some wet spots as well as you head from the East Canyon exit up to the top of Parley Summit. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, cold with an active pattern setting up. 37 today. We'll go mostly cloudy skies with flurries and really not much in the way of accumulation. Snow showers likely for your Friday starting around the lunch hour, 37 the high. 33 cloudy for most of the day Saturday, then Saturday night snow moves in. Snow likely on Sunday, especially in the morning. 31's all we get for a high. 29 on Monday. Partly cloudy skies. It looks dry. Mostly cloudy and 34 on Tuesday. Gives way to more snow showers and potentially some really cold air working in on Wednesday, Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 34 downtown. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
It was interesting to hear Coach Pope when he was talking about entering the Big 12 Conference, that they'd be tested within an inch of their life, like they are out on an island somewhere. You know, he knows this is going to be
tough.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And the Cougars will actually get it started against Cincinnati coming up on Saturday. I just want to remind everybody that today at noon, we'll learn about what this gauntlet looks like in a Big 12 Conference kickoff hour, and Mitch Harper will host. So make sure you're back here starting at 12 o'clock.
You know, with interest rates going down in 2024, there'll be more home buyers, which means there will be more home sellers. And if you've been putting it off because of the condition of the market, put it off no longer. Now is the time to call the Stern team and lay the groundwork. Get to know them. Let them see your property. Tell them about your special circumstances. Why are you moving? What's going on in your personal life that's leading to this? So they can tailor everything just to you.
Yeah, and that really is their specialty, covering everything that needs to be, laid out before you make your decisions based on what your family needs are. We talked yesterday about the 400 families that reach their real estate goals every year with the Stern team. We should tell you, too, they've got 100 active buying clients right now, and so they could actually pair you up within the Stern team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was working with Cammie at the Stern team, and she would, every time a property that fit the description of what we wanted came up, we'd get an email. We got an email from her like every day, every other day. Consider this one. Never upset if we said, no, that's not quite it. That's not quite it. We said that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And so finally we thought, well, maybe that's it. And then we went with her.
Here's the other thing I love about Stern team. They actually put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
They spend about $35,000 a month to help you market your house to other people that may be interested in buying.
So if you want to get top dollar, you need the best team, and that team is the Stern team. You can go online to sternteam.com.
Go to sternteam.com or Google the Stern team.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Maximize your energy savings with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Yes, and you could save up to $4,500 through possible tax credits and other discounts. Purchase a new system today, and Yes will buy back your old inefficient HVAC system. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
Watching Utah's Money this morning is brought to you, as always, by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. GM says it will be discounting the electric vehicles that no longer qualify for the government's $7,500 tax credit. The automaker says it wants prices to stay competitive.
The Biden administration is providing $162 million to microchip technology. It's to support the domestic production of computer chips. The incentives include $90 million to improve a plant in Colorado and $72 million to expand a factory in Oregon. The investments would triple domestic production of these chips.
What's your reaction when I say cheesecake?
Oh.
Cheesecake. Utah County is about to get their first cheesecake factory.
I love to just look in the cases when you walk in. All the different kinds of cheesecake looks so good.
You're a window shopper.
Yeah.
The restaurant will be located at University Place in Orem. Officials said construction will begin immediately, set to open, I guess, in February.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. We're about a half hour from the opening bell. The Dow futures up 76. That's 0.2%. S&P is off a fraction, down 3. The Nasdaq futures are off 81, which is 0.5%.
We've had an eye on this fatal accident over the night down in the southern Utah County area. Minimum delays were being told in Linden, however, despite that crash that's been moved over now to the left barrier. We'll check traffic and weather together next.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Are you one of those people? Those people. You know, self-driven, confident, love sales and understanding marketing. Would you like to work with a variety of businesses, large and small, helping them succeed? Do you want to actually make the kind of money you know you should make? Are you looking for a career with an opportunity to grow? Well, we're looking for those people. Bonneville Salt Lake Media Group is looking for account executives from a variety of backgrounds and experience levels to connect with high-potential business opportunities for digital marketing. KSL Podcasts, KSL News Radio, 103.5 The Era, FM 100.3, and 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. It's advertising sales that will change your world. Not to mention the world-class list of benefits we're famous for. You'll work in person and remotely in a dynamic team culture with opportunities to reach audiences both locally and globally. If this is the kind of work that interests you, text careers to 57500. That's careers to 57500. Text careers to 57500.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
6:59, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. It's emergency traffic brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Well, we're waiting for I-15 to reopen, but for now, we've got a mile of delays before you're forced off in Santaquin in Utah County just to get up into Payson, where cleanup of a semi-rollover continues. I-15 still has the HOV lane blocked northbound in Pleasant Grove. That's only been minor slowdowns, most traffic getting by to the right without any extra travel time. In Redwood, so far, not seeing any extra delay from Saratoga Springs up into Lehigh. Heather?
Still no brake lights southbound I-15 between Ogden and Salt Lake, but you do have some heavier pockets of traffic between Clearfield and Farmington. You also have lane restrictions on Legacy Parkway northbound from Centerville into Farmington. Only one right lane is open. Eric?
I-15 continues to roll along at a decent pace in Salt Lake County. You're looking at about an 18-minute drive northbound from Point of the Mountain up to the downtown area. Foothill Drive starting to get a little bit congested as you head from I-80 or the 215 eastbound up towards the University of Utah. Out into the mountains, I-80's got some slow spots now on the eastbound side from Lambs Canyon all the way up to the Jeremy Ranch area. And so that's not just slow-moving vehicles up a hill. That's because of weather conditions. Road conditions also a factor for I-80 drivers out in Tuella County, eastbound from Grantsville over to Lake Point. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
This pattern is definitely changing. The chance of snow today and tomorrow, 70% on Sunday, and back again on Wednesday of next week. It's 32 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
Governor Spencer Cox is calling for the legislature to expand Utah's child tax credit as part of his yearly budget, but family advocates think it should go a step further.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, Utah became just the 13th state in the country to institute its own child tax credit during last year's legislative session. As it stands now, parents making no more than $54,000 a year can claim the full $1,000 credit for kids between 1 and 3. KSL.com reports, though, Governor Cox wants to up the age to 5 years old. However, Voices for Utah Children is calling for lawmakers to take it even a step further to include newborns. They say if you include newborns to 5 years old, it encompasses nearly a quarter of all Utah kids, more than double the 1 to 5 range alone. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
It is political filing season for the upcoming election. Salt Lake NAACP President Janetta Williams says she's running for Utah's House of Representatives in District 26. Williams, of course, has been leading the local chapter of NAACP for more than 30 years. She says she's choosing to run now because the people of the west side of the valley deserve an advocate who will put their needs first. Williams is challenging West Valley Representative Matt McPherson.
The Roosevelt mayor is choosing to end his run for the Senate and instead running for the 3rd congressional seat being vacated by John Curtis. He says his background in the energy sector and history in rural areas make him a good fit for office.
Here's one more. Former Utah Republican Party Chairman Carson Jorgensen says he plans to announce his candidacy for Utah governor today. He's up against current Governor Spencer Cox and House of Representatives member Phil Lyman, as well as Democratic House member Brian King.
2 people are dead and a third in critical condition after a semi-truck rolled onto its side on I-15 in Payson early this morning.
A real tragic turn of events in this accident here, and what state troopers are saying it's the first fatal of 2024, and it all happened just before 1:30 this morning. That's when a semi-truck veered off into the left shoulder, and state troopers say the driver overcorrected to the right then, causing the semi to roll over. Moments later, a red sedan coming northbound crashed into the trailer. 3 adult women were inside. The driver and front passenger both died. And according to the Utah Highway Patrol, it appears the driver simply couldn't see the overturned trailer in time to react.
Unfortunately, with that overturned semi, the way it was facing, you couldn't see any lights or anything like that. So they were, from what it appears, it didn't look like they knew that the semi was there blocking the roadway.
And state troopers say it will take some time to determine what caused the semi driver to veer out of his lane in the first place. Right now, there are no signs of him being distracted or impaired.
We'll continue to monitor how this crash is impacting the commute when we check traffic and weather together.
A Utah judge has dismissed the murder charges against a 23-year-old woman accused of killing a professional bull rider back in 2022. Here's KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson.
At a justification hearing this week, the judge said 23-year-old LaShawn Denise Bagley was legally justified when she killed 27-year-old professional bull rider Demetrius Allen. KSL.com reports Bagley called 911 at 12:04 a.m. on September 12, 2022 to report someone breaking into her home. Officers found Allen with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Also dismissed on Wednesday were 9 counts of felony discharge of a firearm, 1 first-degree felony, and 8 third-degree felonies against Bagley. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. GOP frontrunner former President Donald Trump wants the Supreme Court to undo the Colorado ruling, removing him from the primary ballot. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
Trump is bringing his battle to stay on the ballot in Colorado to the U.S. Supreme Court after that state's high court disqualified him for his actions on January 6, 2021. Trump's legal team is appealing, but not asking the justices to expedite consideration. If the court takes its time, Colorado's current ruling calls for Trump to remain on the ballot for the state's March 5th primary.
The former president has also been removed from the ballot in Maine.
The Iowa caucus is now less than 2 weeks away, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is getting pushback from his own supporters. He was confronted at a town hall event by a supporter demanding to know why he hasn't spoken out more against former President Donald Trump.
Why haven't you gone directly after him? Polls are down. He's, up really high.
What do you mean by going directly after?
I mean, you're in my viewpoint, you're going pretty soft on him.
DeSantis says he's not the kind of person to smear someone personally.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
I-15 still closed northbound as you go from Santaquin to Payson. You'll be forced onto State Street for now. It's been for the whole morning. Also have traffic starting to slow on I-80 between Parley Summit going to Park City. We've had issues with the weather affecting drive, making it slower than usual on I-80 all the way through Tooele County, and SR-36 south of Tooele in pretty rough shape right now as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
More documents expected to come out later today connected to the investigation into late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The first batch of documents released mentions some famous names, including former Presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, and entertainers including Michael Jackson and David Copperfield.
The people involved, the lawyers involved, the authorities have all known this information. It's just that the public is learning for the first time some of the names behind the various things that are alleged to have happened in connection with a civil lawsuit, again, that happened a long time ago.
ABC News chief legal analyst Dan Abrams does not expect charges to be filed against any of the people named in the investigative documents.
A video is going viral of a man attacking a Nevada district judge during his sentencing. ABC's Derek Dennis has more.
30-year-old Deobra Redden, unrestrained, lunges over the bench right at District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus, pinning her against the wall, pummeling her on the floor until court staff and sheriff's deputies fight him off. Redden, a repeat offender, had pleaded guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. The judge denied his request for probation, which apparently set Redden off. The judge was injured, her condition being monitored. A statement from the court says, "We commend the heroic acts of the judge's staff, law enforcement, and all others who subdued the defendant. We are reviewing our protocols."
A marshal was also injured and hospitalized.
Did you see the video of that?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's crazy. All right, sports. The Jazz pulled off an overtime win last night against the Detroit Pistons, and combined, the team set a new scoring record. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with the details. Michael?
Tim, the game ended 154 to 148, landing Utah 9-3 over the past 12 games. Now, this game saw them go against a hot shooting Detroit, who were able to tie the game at the literal last second to send it into overtime. K-Jazz caught the moment.
AB going coast to coast. He'll throw up a prayer. Got it!
Ultimately, the Jazz came away with the win, but even if you're more into trivia than sports, this game's got something. The team's combined score of 302 makes it a new record for the Jazz. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Well, the votes are in for the NFL Pro Bowl. Former BYU rookie receiver Puka Nacua. What a season he has had. He made the list. Others with local ties going to the Pro Bowl include Penei Sewell, Jalen Johnson, Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Rashid Shaheed, and Miles Killebrew.
I think I saw yesterday Puka's within 142, 146 yards now of setting a rookie record, or tying the rookie record.
He's just had an awesome season.
Still got a game to do it. This week marks 5 months since the deadly wildfire on Maui, and the island is still trying to recover. Some residents are pushing back against the surge of tourism, which state officials say will boost the economy.
Katie Austin was a server at restaurants on Maui, but she quit after tourism reopened in October. She says she was worn down by the constant questions from tourists asking if she was affected by the fire. She, like many Maui residents, finds it tough to see vacationing families arriving to play at the beach.
It's not good for our mental health when we see families frolicking around having a wonderful time.
But the mayor, governor, and businesses have pleaded with people to go to Maui to support the economy. Alex Stone, EBC News.
7:09, time for that look at traffic and weather together. It's emergency traffic, again brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Andy?
Well, cleanup of the crash in Pleasant Grove continues. They still have the HOV lane blocked. They're sweeping up some of the debris from the road, though. Utah County, you also have a closure of I-15. That's been the case all morning from the Santaquin exit to the 800 South Payson exit. No northbound traffic getting by, and about a mile of backup just to exit the freeway to take State Street into Payson. Heather?
Traffic's getting pretty busy now in Layton, right in front of Northridge High School, as well as in front of Clearfield High School on 1000 East. But the freeways in both Weber and Davis counties are looking really good. Still haven't seen any slowdowns. Traffic is heavy in some spots, but you're not going to hit the brakes yet between Ogden and Salt Lake. Eric.
The wet conditions have been troublesome for Tooele County drivers this morning. You still got northbound slowing on SR 36 in Stansbury Park, and further up ahead as you try to get onto the freeway at Lake Point. I-80 is slow between the Grantsville exits and Lake Point as well, and that's for both directions of travel. In Salt Lake County, the freeways are overall looking good. A little bit of eastbound slowing on the 215 southbound as you work your way from Taylorsville into Murray. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast. We start the day out at 7 a.m. with some cloudy skies and flurries in the area, at the most making the roads wet. Temperatures right around 30. Lunch hour, we've got light flurries and clouds out and about. Into the afternoon and evening, we top out at 37 degrees, cloudy skies, and some flurries. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
How about freezing out there right now? It's 32 degrees.
Well, weight loss drugs are, people are having some success with them, but doctors are concerned about what happens when you stop taking them.
Right.
More on that just ahead on KSL.
Intermountain Health has been named one of the nation's best large healthcare providers.
Fortune and Pink AI named Intermountain Health as the number 3 large system healthcare provider in the United States. Large provider defined as having operating costs of at least $2.5 billion or $1.5 billion in operating costs and serving at least 3 states. The top systems are credited with having better survival rates, fewer patient complications, and fewer healthcare-related infections. In a release, Intermountain President and CEO Rob Allen says the award highlights the dedication and incredible work of leaders and teams across Intermountain's 64,000 caregivers. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
We'll get an update on this from Andy in a moment, but we have another semi rollover this morning on I-15 in the Murray area. I-215. We'll check it just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Hitting the snooze button in the morning isn't the worst way to start the day, according to a new study. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris has the details.
Snoozing isn't necessarily losing, according to a study from Stockholm University. Researchers found that healthy sleepers who snooze up to 30 minutes each morning don't have negative cognitive effects, and it can even help some people wake up more easily. Data also found that there is not a large difference in sleepiness or mood between snoozers and non-snoozers throughout the day. While their data shows hitting the snooze button doesn't majorly harm healthy sleepers, it can be negative for those with sleep disorders, medical conditions, those who have atypical sleep schedules, or wake up frequently throughout the night. Alessandra Harris, KSL News Radio.
Local wildlife officials are asking people, please stop ditching fish. This comes after the DWR says someone dumped a walleye into Strawberry Reservoir. That walleye does not belong in Strawberry Reservoir, and it could damage the ecosystem.
An Oklahoma teen has beat what he thought was an unbeatable game.
13-year-old Willis Gibson is believed to be the first person ever to beat the original Nintendo version of Tetris. He got further into the game than the creators thought anyone ever would, so they didn't program anything past that. The 34-year-old programming couldn't keep up and just stopped.
I'm gonna pass out.
It took him less than 40 minutes to pass 167 levels. Only AI has been able to achieve this before him. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
That's crazy.
Maybe mom and dad can get him out of the basement now that he's finally beat the stupid thing.
That's funny. Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, a lucky Utah Jazz fan. This was amazing. Shot 3 basketballs at halftime last night and won a new car.
Oh, my gosh.
The Delta Center celebrated with him after he sank the last shot, and he did it all in socks and sandals. Wow.
Good for him. Hey, if you needed a reason to celebrate today, it's Statehood Day. Somebody just sent us this text. On January 4th, 1896, President Grover Cleveland admitted Utah to the Union as the 45th state.
But today is also another big day. It's National Spaghetti Day, Tim. So what's the best spaghetti you've ever had?
Oh, my wife's spaghetti. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
She's Italian. So she knows how to cook the noodles just right so they're al dente all the time. And carrots are the secret ingredient in the gravy.
To her sauce. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, not sauce. It's gravy. That's all right. KSL News Time, 7:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First, we're keeping eyes on not 1, but 2 semi-rollovers this morning. One just happened on I-215. We'll get a look at that coming up.
We're also following a story with Adam Small that has to do with Utah's child tax credit and whether Governor Cox's budget goes far enough.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
We've got a semi that's rolled on I-215 southbound just before I-15 in Murray. Traffic quickly backing up towards Redwood Road. This is going to be another big issue this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're right on schedule today with cloudy skies and some flurries. Cold. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's 32 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Former President Donald Trump's asked the U.S. Supreme Court to reverse the Colorado decision barring him from the state's primary ballot. With the Iowa caucuses now less than 2 weeks away, Iowa Republican Christopher Garcia tells ABC that whatever happens in politics...
I have grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. I say 50% of them are Democrats, but we still talk. We still eat dinner together. We still go to Christmas together. And that's what we got to be as a country. If we don't do that, we're done.
Back in Washington, senators are working on a deal for aid to Ukraine and Israel, along with border security. The border, the topic of the trip to the southern border from congressional Republicans. ABC's Matt Rivers has more from Eagle Pass, Texas.
America is at a breaking point with record levels of illegal immigration.
House Speaker Mike Johnson leading a delegation of some 64 House Republicans to Eagle Pass, Texas Wednesday. Their New Year's resolution, demanding tougher border security policies laid out in a bill the House passed last year. The White House calling Johnson's border trip a political stunt, saying House Republicans have rejected requests for more funding at the border multiple times.
Texas appears to be the most popular state for people in the U.S. to relocate, says ABC's Jim Ryan.
U-Haul's annual growth index looks at bookings of moving trucks as a gauge of a region's ability to attract newcomers, on the theory that people renting a truck one way have no intention of coming back. Based on that, Texas was the #1 growth state in 2023, followed by Florida and North Carolina. California had the largest net loss of one-way movers.
More documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein could be released today. Documents released Wednesday included the name of former President Clinton, who's not accused of wrongdoing. And Britain's prime minister says it appears a general election will take place in the second half of the year. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's go in depth here. Weight loss drugs are selling in huge numbers right now.
But some doctors are concerned about what can happen when people go off those drugs. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has more.
Some who've used one of the hottest trends in weight loss, those new prescription medications, reporting that, like with other weight loss interventions, the weight came back when they stopped taking the drugs.
Within a month, I could feel how different my appetite was, how lethargic I was becoming again, all of those things.
Artemis Bayandor was having difficulty shedding the tough-to-lose baby weight, and after talking to her doctor, started taking Wegovy in August 2021, losing 15 pounds over 6 months. But once her manufacturer's coupon ran out, she had to stop because her insurance wouldn't cover it.
The pharmacy called me and said, "You've been paying the coupon price for 6 months for $25, and now the price has gone up to it's $1,300.
That's when the weight came back and then some.
I gained the 15 pounds back within the next 6 months of being off of Wegovy. And since then, I probably gained another 15 pounds.
The active ingredient in Wegovy is semaglutide, a drug first approved for treating type 2 diabetes. In June 2021, the FDA approved its use for chronic weight management in adults who are overweight or obese. A 2022 study finding once patients go off the medication, the average weight gain rebound is about 2/3 of the total weight lost. Novo Nordisk, the makers of Ozempic and Wegovy, saying in a statement, not unexpectedly, patients experience weight regain once they stop taking the medication.
And the company added the drugs should be used with consistent lifestyle changes to maintain those long-term results. That's the bottom line, right? Is that you have to change your relationship to food and movement in order to maintain any weight loss in the future.
And this has been true
forever.
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
That if you don't change your lifestyle, in its entirety, you're always going to be destined to go right back to it. And in some cases, put more weight on than you had before.
Yeah, I went through that where I'd go on diets and lose all kinds of weight. And the second I went back to my normal life, it came right back and more, as you say.
I find it interesting that we address these now as weight loss drugs. I don't think the FDA even has declared them as such.
Yeah, they reported in was it June of 2021, they said, for severe cases of weight loss.
Obesity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's the In-Depth this morning at 15:45.
It's 7:19 now. Traffic and weather together. It's emergency traffic every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Andy?
Amanda, travelers on 215 now only have one lane of the freeway open. Going over from Redwood over to I-15 because of a semi-crash. Actually, two. I guess there is some debris in that lane, but people are just driving over it. Nevertheless, Redwood to I-15 is going to be a mess, so use 7200 South to get over to I-15 instead if you're coming out of Taylorsville. I-15 has been okay between Draper and downtown this morning, but Tooele County, I-80 really slick, especially through the stretch from Grantsville to Lake Point. Heather?
Well, we do have a bit of mist and fog up and through Weber and Davis County in certain areas, and so that is creating some moisture on the roadways, which could make them a little bit slick. The good news is we haven't had any crashes reported yet on city streets or freeways, and right now you're mostly at speed between Ogden and Salt Lake, whether you take I-15, US 89, or Legacy Parkway. Eric?
The biggest continuing problem throughout the morning has been down Utah County, and it's still a problem for northbound drivers coming out of Juab County approaching Santaquin. You're going to be forced off in Santaquin because of an earlier crash about a mile south of Payson. and you're going to have to head up towards on Main State Street up into the Payson that way to get to Spanish Fork. Beyond that, everything looks good in Utah County, going up to on I-15 up to Point of the Mountain. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast is full of cold air and snow chances. Love to see it. 37 today with flurries likely. 37 tomorrow with snow showers moving in right around that lunch hour. 33 and cloudy skies for most of the day on Saturday, and we could see some snow move in Saturday night. 31 cold on Sunday, snow likely, especially in the morning. 29 partly cloudy on Monday, dry on Tuesday again, 34. Then we bring in more snow on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I guess we could celebrate. We've gone from no chances to snow chances.
Yeah.
Now, anyway, that's progress. 32 in Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
What a Jazz game that was last night. I mean, everything everybody put up went in.
Yeah.
It was just one of those nights where everybody was hot.
And some last-minute buzzer beaters to get it into overtime, too.
Isn't that was amazing, that shot that they made to send it to overtime. And so they scored a record high number of total points at the Delta Center, 302 points.
Wow.
Is that insane?
Yeah, it's insane. No defense. You know, guys, and I'm an old schooler. I think Goose is too. He's a Laker fan, though, so that doesn't qualify. Old schoolers just always talk about how bad it is that we've put everything in favor of offense, and there's no defense anymore because defense used to be the game winner. You know?
Yeah, and still I think is. I mean, some of those block shots can be awesome. But anyway, they also had this terrific thing we were reporting this morning that a guy made 3 3-pointers in a row and won a car.
Yeah.
And our friend Adam was there, and he said that the stadium just erupted.
I'm sure. Yeah, so a fun night last night for the Jazz. They've been on a tear lately.
We're going to have a Jazz basketball on our air. Let's see, when is that game? That's tomorrow. We'll have Jazz at Boston coverage here on KSL News Radio beginning at 5 p.m.
I noticed that jobless claims were down about 18,000 to a 3-month low. We'll see if that's affecting the markets at all when we check Money News coming up next.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. American Express began as a freight forwarding company in 1850, earning a reputation as a company people could trust. One thing has remained constant through the company's history: its commitment to providing the world's best customer experience every day. Amex's Senior Vice President of Commercial Underwriting, Brady Fife, shares more.
American Express opened its first Utah office in 1910, offering express delivery services. We have had a consistent Utah presence for over 100 years and are proud to be the official payments partner of the Utah Jazz and Delta Center, which includes a dedicated entrance for all American Express card members. Today, Amex's Utah office is located in Sandy. There are about a dozen business units within our local market, ranging from finance and risk to technology, supporting our consumer, commercial, merchant and network, and international business segments. Utah is also the headquarters of American Express National Bank. Since our earliest days, we've striven to find new ways to have our customers and colleagues' backs. This year, we ranked #1 in credit card satisfaction for consumer and small businesses by J.D. Power, and we're the #3 best company to work for in the U.S. by Fortune magazine.
While American Express's business has transformed over the past 173 years, from freight forwarding to innovative digital products, its 77,000 global colleagues remain committed to earning customers' loyalty for the long haul. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
That situation, before we check money, that situation in Murray with the rollover semi really causing some problems now, so we wanted to go back to Andy Farnsworth.
Yeah, only 2 lanes are open going from Redwood over to I-15. It's right before I-15 where this semi has rolled. There's a lot of debris, and this is going to be there probably for a little while, at least a little while, maybe towards the end of the morning before they can get this cleared up. So if you're trying to go over, if you're coming down the West Belt, heading over to I-15, you maybe want to grab 5300 South instead to get to I-15. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll watch Utah's Money now, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The hottest gift this holiday season was a Stanley tumbler. Data from Helium-10 said the beloved cup. You know, my kids are really my older kids, my millennial kids, are really into these Stanley Cups.
How do they catch on? I don't know.
I don't know, but they're heavy. They're great, but they're heavy. Anyway, the data shows that this beloved cup was searched more than, oh my goodness, 4.5 million times on Amazon. The cups start at $35. This special cup, I think this cup from Starbucks is pink. Maybe that's part of it.
I don't know. The low-calorie ice cream brand Halo Top is offering a $5,000 endorsement deal to 10 athletes working on their fitness-related New Year's resolutions. Applications are open, and the lucky winners will get $5,000, fitness coaching sessions, a talent manager, and plenty of ice cream.
Chick-fil-A prices went up 21% in just the last 2 years. The CEO says the rising cost of ingredients, packaging, and transportation led to the increase. Despite the cost, it remains one of Utah's most popular fast food restaurants.
I mentioned briefly that jobless claims came out this morning, nearly a 3-month low of 202,000. ADP also reports that there was 164,000 new workers hired in December. How are the markets? They're mixed. The Dow is up 101. The S&P is really just flat. It's off a point, and the Nasdaq is down this hour by 71.
We still have a lot of problems on the freeway. Those 2 right lanes blocked for eastbound 215 traffic approaching the I-15 interchange there in Murray. There's a semi rollover. We'll check it and the rest of your commute just ahead.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This U.S. Senate race gets better by the day.
Elections officials say next week's deadline may catch some by surprise.
Congressman John Curtis in studio with us live.
This is a major life decision.
Democrats say they will run a candidate, but haven't yet said who.
Get updates on who's running each morning this week and get analysis on the candidates later in the day. Listen to David Dejanovic at 9 and Boyd Matheson at 1. Your voice, your vote 2024. This week
on KSL News Radio.
It's emergency traffic and weather together here at 7:29. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Couple of problem spots, Andy.
Yeah, semis rolled on I-215 in Taylorsville, Murray, right by the golf course. It's just before you get to I-15. With only 2 lanes of the freeway open, delays are already back, passing Redwood and starting to creep back onto the curve towards the west belt. So be ready for that. If you're coming down, maybe exit at Redwood and go up to 53rd South. Follow that over to I-15. Could save you some time. 201's got some backups building in Magna now near 7200 West. We still have slowdowns along I-80 from Grantsville all the way almost to the 201 split. Reduced speeds because of weather issues. Heather?
We've got our typical slowdowns now. Southbound I-15 between Kaysville and Farmington. That's only adding a minute or two to your drive from Ogden into Salt Lake. We've had slowdowns all morning long northbound Legacy Parkway between Centerville and Farmington. That is due to lane restrictions. Only one right lane is open. Eric?
Well, because of an earlier fatal accident on I-15 Utah County, you're still going to be diverted northbound in Santaquin. You've got some backups from Juab County up to Santaquin right now because of that diversion as they still try to clear that earlier event. I-15 the rest of the way up to the point of the mountain looks good. If you're on I-80 through the mountains, we do have some slowing eastbound approaching the East Canyon exit and going into Lambs Canyon. Don't miss the amazing Utah Auto Expo, January 12th through 15th at the Mountain America Exposition Center. See the newest cars, trucks, electric vehicles, all in a non-selling environment. AutoExpoUtah.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the weather forecast says we have a chance of snow today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then again next week. Looks like a different storm system moves in on Wednesday, so maybe we'll get some appreciable snow in the mountains and even down here in the valleys. We do have light snow, in fact, this morning. Right now downtown, it's 32 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
The family of an injured skier is calling on people to slow down while you're on the slope as resorts all around the country are seeing a rise in collisions.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, 27-year-old Sydney Ross is now back home after getting hit by another skier at Brighton Resort almost 3 weeks ago. Her mom, Karen Farron, tells KSL TV she is expected to make a full recovery from a traumatic brain injury, but she's still got about a year of rehab ahead of her.
The fact that this happened, it was like, breaks my heart.
Farron says the person that hit her did not stop. Police are still looking for them. However, this kind of thing is becoming more common everywhere. According to the National Ski Areas Association, there were 53 catastrophic injuries last season around the country, well above the 10-year average. Safety campaigns from resorts around the country are saying the same type of thing. Slow down and be aware of what and who is around you. Live in Salt Lake County, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We do have some snow falling this morning, which could help our ski resorts spread those skiers out to more runs on the mountain. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says northern Utah will see more snow coming over the weekend.
Today is cloudy with some hors d'oeuvres. We're calling it flurries. Highs in the upper 30s. It's really not much. Into tomorrow, looks like we'll see a boundary move through. That'll produce some snow showers down to the valley floor. We're talking about 1 to 2 inches, but the benches could pick up 3 or more, highs in the 30s.
Kevin Eubanks said the weekend might be 1 to 2 feet in the Cottonwoods, the heaviest snow falling Saturday night, Sunday morning.
We have 2 semi-crashes to report this morning that are causing major delays. The first happened in Payson, where a semi overturned and then a sedan crashed into the semi, killing 2 and sending a third person to the hospital. The second crash happened a short time ago on eastbound I-215 in Murray. We have reporters on the scene of both crashes, and we'll have live reports at the top of the hour.
The owner of Soul Shoes is trying to recover after someone stole tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise. KSL TV's Debbie Worthen has the story.
It's personal to the business owner. She was born in Mexico, and she knows many of the people that make these high-end shoes. But she's moved what's left of her inventory into her garage now after thieves came to her storage unit, cut the lock, took the shoes, and just left the boxes. It has been a devastating blow to this small business owner.
The robbery took place at a storage unit in Saratoga Springs just after Christmas.
KSL's top national stories now. Former President Bill Clinton is among the high-profile names listed in newly unsealed court documents related to...
Clinton spokesperson denied the former president knew about Epstein's crimes, denied Clinton was ever on Epstein's island, and said Clinton had not communicated with Epstein in more than a decade. Also in the documents, deposition from a witness who said she met Michael Jackson and magician David Copperfield during her time with Epstein. Epstein died in jail while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges in 2019. His death was ruled a suicide.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert says former President Trump and Prince Andrew are also names found in the documents.
Police are still working to find out how a man was able to get through a secure area of the Salt Lake Airport and then get into a plane engine where he later died. Former Ogden Airport manager John Greiner tells KSL TV that people outside of law enforcement should have intervened.
It's kind of surprising to me that somebody can get through one of those doors, even though it set off the alarm, and get all the way across the airport where everybody on that airport tarmac has had the same training.
He says every airport has a tight security plan in place.
We're hearing from the Pac-12 president for the first time in months, now that the college football season is coming to an end. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more. Michael?
Amanda, George Kliavkoff didn't seem to show any remorse about the downfall of Pac-12 after Washington's playoff victory over Texas. Instead, he took credit for the conference's successful season and blamed schools for the failed media rights negotiations with ESPN. In an interview with Sports 24/7, he said, quote, "It's upsetting that some of our schools weren't more patient because if they saw what we were building, it would have paid off," close quote. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
All right, first look traffic. Andy, boy, that's a mess in Murray, isn't it?
It is still a big mess because of the semi rollover, but it's now snowing on top of all that, so that's not going to help things to speed up at all. 215's backed up from Redwood to I-15, and we still have I-15 closed from Santaquin to Payson. and about a mile and a half of delay just to exit the freeway so you can take the alternate down in Utah County. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Scientists are working to find new ways to help the ecosystems for birds and bats in Utah.
The Ogden Nature Center has collaborated with MODIS, a North American migration tracking system. They've set up around 30 tracking stations along the Wasatch Front. The center's conservation director, Maya Pendleton, says this will lead to game-changing conservation research. It works like this. The center will put tiny, harmless GPS tags on local birds, bats, and insects. They'll send the little guys out into the wild. The towers will then pick up migration data.
These tags not only tell you a GPS location, they can really tell you all sorts of things about the animal's movements, if there are more stopover habitats that are seeming really important to them.
This data will help the center figure out ways to best conserve these animals and their habitats. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
Turns out we bought a lot of cars in 2023. ABC's Daria Albinger reports.
High prices, rising interest rates, an historic UAW strike which threatened to raise them even more, and a computer chip shortage which slowed down assembly lines to a crawl. In many cases, couldn't keep Americans out of dealerships last year. Cox Automotive says 15.6 million new vehicles were sold nationwide in 2023. That's up 12% from the year before. It's also the biggest increase in over a decade. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Sales have yet to return, however, to pre-pandemic levels.
Utah ranks 9th when it comes to living a lifestyle that promotes brain health. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
According to LifeExtension.com, there are 7 lifestyle habits that lead to better brain health. That list includes things like regular consumption of fruits and vegetables, hours slept during the night, interest in meditation, and breastfeeding rates. The study uses data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Survey of Children's Health, and Google Trends. Vermont, Oregon, and Colorado top the list. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
We have eyes on the UDOT camera showing that I-215 belt route starting to stack up now from Murray into Taylorsville because of that crash. Traffic and weather together when we come back.
Have you heard of IRS Tax Code Section 1.408A-4? It sounds complicated, but it's a simple tax law thousands of Utah families are using to lock in lower tax bills when they retire. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement, and some of this money is in an IRA or 401k, it could save you tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in future tax bills. You can find out how much you could save by requesting a free and confidential retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, a 5-time winner of Utah's Best of State Award. For your free retirement tax analysis, call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
You can stream your favorite show anytime, but the opera only happens 4 times per year. Join us and make new memories with your family and friends. Enjoy the entertaining stories, beautiful sets and costumes, and mesmerizing music. You deserve an elegant night on the town or a Sunday matinee with Utah Opera. Your couch will be there when you get back. Start the new year with a magical opera. The beloved children's book, The Little Prince, is brought to life by Utah Opera in a colorful and vibrant event at the historic Capitol Theater. See the Little Prince and the whimsical characters he meets on his incredible journey. Sung in English, this opera is a perfect outing for adults and kids 5 and older, including a Sunday matinee performance. The iPad will be there when you get back. Tickets start at $21. Get yours today at utahopera.org.
Find tickets at utahopera.org.
7:39, emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Well, Amanda, this truck that's rolled on I-215 south end, it looks like a semi, and it looks like it spilled debris all over the place. So only 2 left lanes are open on I-215 right before I-15 in Murray. And the delays stretch back past the golf course all the way past Redwood Road in Taylorsville. Now we're starting to see backups as people are planning ahead and trying to find alternate routes to get to I-215 rather than waiting out the backups on the main flow itself. Bangerter's beginning to see more delays. Taylorsville into West Valley. Mountain View, same story. Again, weather definitely a factor this morning. Heather?
Weber and Davis County drivers are going to see their worst congestion on city streets right now. That includes 5600 South and Roy, and both in front of Clearfield and Northridge High Schools. That has pretty bad congestion both directions. Southbound I-15 is a bit slow, though, between 200 North and Kaysville heading into Farmington. And then again, you'll see a few more brake lights between Beck Street and downtown Salt Lake. Eric?
Well, if you're getting on the freeway in Payson, no problems northbound I-15 from that point up to Point of the Mountain. But the problem all morning has been a crash about a mile south of Payson. This is on the northbound side, and it's completely shut down the freeway all morning long. You're going to be diverted in Santaquin if you're coming up from Juab County. Out into the mountains, we've got slowdowns now on I-80 eastbound going from the Lambs Canyon area up to the top of Parley Summit, and then getting into Park City, you've got your typical slowdowns westbound on Kearns Boulevard from US 40 into town. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yesterday's southern Utah storm delivered, but it brings some flurries to northern Utah today. Look for a high of 37. Not much in the way of accumulation. Overnight lows dipping off into the upper 20s. Will go mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 37. We've got snow showers likely, maybe 1 to 2 inches. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hard to tell if it's snowing downtown yet. It's still not light enough, but 32 degrees.
We talked to ABC's Stephen Portnoy this morning, and he gave us the lay of the land as to what the status is of President Trump's appeal of that Colorado decision that takes him off the ballot. We're going to share with you what Stephen had to say. He really explains it well. That's just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Also just ahead, Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. It's not just you.
My husband passed away. He had been ill for quite some time. And he did the taxes, but he forgot to send them in. He never sent the forms in. And this was the beginning of my nightmare.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
I got all these letters from the IRS telling me I owed them $63,000. I had a good friend that she said, "You need an attorney." She said, "Call Jordan Wilcox."
You need someone to fight for you.
He said, "Cynthia, we're going to give him $3,000. How does that sound?" I started crying because I was overwhelmed.
Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com.
You have it made in the shade with Jordan Wilcox.
That's taxhelput.com.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News is brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
You know what cat ears look like, pointy, fur-covered triangles, right? Well, not necessarily if you live in China. There's a disturbing new trend there where veterinary clinics are offering surgery to give your cat Mickey Mouse ears. This is for real. 2 perfect circles perched above the kitty cat's forehead. This fad has taken China by storm, with clinics offering the surgery on sale for as low as $40. According to the dean of a pet medical school in Beijing, this is not a simple procedure. It involves anesthesia, cutting and shaping, and return visits for tweaks so your cat can look more like Mickey. In short, he says it's animal cruelty. And if you're wondering, they also do it to dogs with pointy ears. Cats are more common, though. Activists in China say this needless surgery is more than just a tweak. It causes physical pain and psychological trauma for the pet. But these animal rights activists are already pretty busy in China, where wealthy people with living room aquariums spend thousands on plastic surgery for their fish. Yes, the New York Times reports they spend upward of $100,000 for a coveted dragonfish. Then they'll spend $150 on an eye lift and a chin job to make their fish more beautiful. And I just shake my head picturing a poor cat with Mickey ears staring up at that aquarium, dreaming of that $100,000 dinner up there.
Get back, Honky Cat. Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Join Jeff this afternoon. He'll help you get home starting at 3 o'clock.
We have some breaking news on KSL News Radio. Police in Perry, Iowa are reporting a shooting at a high school. Very few details are known at this time, but we will update this story as soon as we get more information.
KSL News Time now, 7:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the family of a woman seriously hurt at a Utah ski resort is calling on others to slow down on the slopes, with these kinds of collisions becoming more and more common around the country. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, we have 2 semi-truck rollovers this morning. One of them was deadly.
And obviously that's causing some problems, so let's check your traffic and weather together.
Yeah, one of them has debris all over 215 as well as the truck on its side. It's eastbound right before I-15 in Murray. Traffic is backed up past Redwood Road. And then that closure down in Utah County, the fatal one, still has traffic being forced off in Santaquin. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies with flurries today, but accumulating snow tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Immigration remains a major focus in the new year. House Republicans Wednesday visited the southern border. They're calling on the White House to take action to secure the border. The White House took action. The Justice Department is suing Texas over one of its laws.
The Biden administration argues that SB 4 is unconstitutional and is asking a federal judge in Austin to block implementation of the statute, which is to take effect in March. It gives state, county, and local police the authority to arrest people suspected of being in the country illegally, a function the DOJ says is exclusively a federal responsibility.
It's ABC's Jim Ryan in Texas. Former President Trump asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the Colorado ruling that bars him from the state primary ballot. More names could be released today connected to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Former President Clinton's name surfaced on Wednesday. He has not been accused of any wrongdoing linked to Epstein. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Former President Donald Trump fighting to get his name back on the primary ballot in Colorado.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy joined us earlier to explain.
And now there are or will be 2 petitions at the High Court. No indication yet as to when the justices will engage on this and take it up and, for example, ask for replies and schedule a conference to decide whether to take the case. And we don't know if they will, but the suggestion is that they will, because all legal experts in the country have been looking to the Supreme Court for answers to questions that have been asked. Let's talk about what's in this filing. Attorneys for the former president say that the Colorado Supreme Court ruling is not correct, cannot be correct. They say that President Trump in no way engaged in insurrection, that the January 6th riot did not amount to that. They argue that it's up to Congress and not to the courts or state officials to decide whether a candidate is eligible to be president, especially when it comes to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. They claim the office of president isn't covered by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. And courts across the country, as they've been weighing these issues, have had difficulty answering them, and they've had diverging opinions. Only the Supreme Court can answer these questions, and that's why it's all eyes on the High Court here in Washington.
Doesn't this boil down to in terms of Trump being charged or being convicted of anything? It's due process, isn't it?
Well, due process is certainly a fundamental principle that is in play, but the idea that a conviction is necessary, when you look at the drafting history of the 14th Amendment, and I have, back in 1866, it was a question as to whether a conviction was necessary, and the Senate decided not to include a conviction requirement. There were senators who wanted that, and they decided not to put it in. So you could argue that even though the insurrection, there's a particular statute in the U.S. Code that says that if you engage in insurrection or rebellion, that you should, I think that the punishment is 10 years in prison and also an inability to serve in office under the United States. The fact that that hasn't been charged by the Justice Department in this modern era, I'm not sure if ever, certainly not since the Civil War, that it shouldn't apply to Trump, because who's to say that he engaged in insurrection? That was a determination reached so far only by the Maine Secretary of State on her own conclusion, and the Colorado Supreme Court looking at the determination that the judge in Denver made after a hearing. And one of the Trump's arguments is that that's just not the way this ought to work. You shouldn't have trial court judges in Denver, Colorado, deciding questions like this, or a Secretary of State in Maine without some sort of proper way that Congress should set up. This whole idea of it being self-executing is very much a question.
Boy, it's going to be interesting.
You kind of get a sense Stephen has a legal background, don't you?
He does. So he studied it. That's the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, 7:49. Emergency traffic and weather together. We've been in it all morning. This look brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Well, 215's a parking lot coming over from Redwood to I-15. In fact, it's backing up even before the Redwood exit, and a lot of people are bailing off there from the West Belt because of this truck that's overturned. 2 right lanes are blocked by debris and the truck, and it's snowing on top of that, which is now slowing down all the city streets in the area. 53rd South, Redwood Road, 6200 South. This is all in the Taylorsville-Murray area. Bangerter's got backups increasing in both South Jordan and West Valley. And now on the south end, we're seeing some extra southbound delay going down from Riverton. Heather?
The snow has not made it up north yet through Weber and Davis County, but it is heading that direction. And you already have some slowdowns southbound I-15 as you leave Layton, head through Kaysville, and again between Beck Street and downtown Salt Lake City. Legacy Parkway, the delays are building as you head north between Centerville and Farmington. That is due to lane restrictions, and a lot of the city streets are still overly congested, especially around school zones. Eric?
Northbound from Juab County into Utah County, it's still pretty slow. That's because you're going to be diverted in Santaquin. This is all because of an earlier semi-rollover about a mile before Payson. So as a result, you're going to be diverted in Santaquin. You're going to have to bypass the first Payson exit and get on the second one to get back onto northbound I-15. And you've got your usual slowing now, Mountain View Corridor as it turns into 2100 North in Lehigh, right at Redwood Road, and westbound or eastbound from there, approaching 2300 West. That's also slow at the moment. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. We have a little snow, Matt.
All right, yeah, it's nice to see something fall from the sky. We've got 37 for a high today. Flurries and even some light snow showers mixed in. Won't amount to much, but since the ground's cold, you could see some white landscape out there. Snow tomorrow. We'll likely see a punch of moderate snow around the lunch hour, then scattered. 37 the high, maybe 1 to 2 inches tomorrow. Cloudy for most of the day Saturday, late Saturday in the evening and into Sunday. We could see another 1 to 4 inches of snow. We like to see it. Monday, partly cloudy, dry, high of only 29. Overnight lows in the teens to start next week. Tuesday next week is mostly cloudy, 34. And then Wednesday, a more powerful cold front expected. That could bring in more snow. And behind it, potentially some overnight lows in the single digits.
Oh, wow. Well, and when you add all that up, you said it's pretty impressive over the next 10 days or so.
Yeah, in the mountains, we're talking 2 to 4 feet.
Love it.
So we love it.
All right. Right now, downtown, 34 degrees. Be careful if you're on your way in. We talk a lot about our friends at MPS for good reason. They're going to save you money on really everything you could think of, 30 to 70%, but we don't often explain why that's the case. They get inventory from overstock, unclaimed, and refused shipments from various companies around the country. They don't even know what's coming in, quite frankly, the next day. So it's kind of fun for them when they open it all up. But then they pass all of those savings on to you at unbelievable prices.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 to 70% off the retail price. But then they always have specials with additional savings. Like right now, you can save an additional 50% off clothing and clothing accessories. And I will be stopping by because they just marked bags and backpacks down an additional 50%. I got a beautiful bag there. This one. I got this one there, which is like a, I don't know how many $100 bag, and I got it for $60.
You know what I really love are the flash sales that they'll have because they know they just need to clear some space, and every once in a while there'll be a table or a box that's just full of stuff, and it says everything $2.
Right. I mean, NPS pricing is so far off retail prices that you're paying, in some cases, like pennies on the dollar. And it's why I do my grocery shopping there, too, because I save in that department.
By the way, we should tell you, too, these are all brand new and brand name products. They have 4 locations of NPS, 2 in Salt Lake, 1 in Orem, 1 in Layton.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. you'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with a 10-year everything guarantee.
They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. You may not have that kind of time for weatherization, energy efficiency, and appliance rebates, but we do. Dominion Energy's ThermWise program has experts who know where and how to save money. They help homeowners and businesses find simple ways to conserve natural gas and rebates through upgrades that may help to save even more. We put our energy into helping you conserve it, so you can spend your 10,000 hours becoming an expert in what matters to you. Start with a home energy plan at thermwise.com.
News sponsored by Dominion Energy's ThermWise program. Their experts help you save money. Start now at thermwise.com.
Dave and Dujanovic. More than 60 Republican lawmakers visited the southern border, including Utah Representatives Burgess Owens and Celeste Malloy. I'll tell you why I think this visit specifically will force Republicans into getting something done at the border, even if they have to shut down the government. Today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors. TrajanWealth.com. The markets are mixed to start the day. Dow's up 115, the S&P is up just 3, and the NASDAQ is down now, but only 38 points.
It's time for Cougar Tracks, and here is KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper.
Coming into this BYU basketball season, expectations were low after finishing with 19 wins a year ago. Big 12 coaches tapped BYU to finish 13th out of 14 teams this year. After non-conference play, BYU finds themselves with a 12-1 record, the best start to a season in 35 years for the program. Now the gauntlet of the Big 12 awaits this weekend. Head coach Mark Pope lays out his expectations for the Cougars' inaugural Big 12 slate.
I expect that we're going to learn a lot. I expect that we're going to be stretched to the point of barely being able to exist on the planet Earth. I have huge expectations for this. This is why you do it. You know, my expectations are this is going to feel like when you go play at the most elite level available to you in college basketball, and that's where we're going.
For more on BYU's first year in the Big 12 Conference, go to KSLSports.com and subscribe to the Cougar Tracks podcast. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Deb, you may not believe this, but I actually do like to eat healthy food. I feel better when I eat healthy, and I do feel full.
I want you to start off 2024 the right way. Log on to fedupkitchen.com, and you can order clean, macro-based, low-calorie meals. Not only that, they have treats and green drinks.
And they're prepared fresh in their Salt Lake City kitchen.
Order today, and they'll be ready for pickup or delivery tomorrow.
It's healthy eating made easy with Fed Up Kitchen.
You can save time, you can save money, and get results with their delicious meals. And like we said, they are made fresh daily.
And because it's the holidays, we want to make sure there's a little gift for you. You can save 20% on your first order. All you have to do is use the promo code KSL at fedupkitchen.com.
That's right. Go to fedupkitchen.com, put in promo code KSL, and you're going to get 20% off your first order.
Take the guesswork out of healthy eating. Go to fedupkitchen.com and use the promo code KSL.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
7:59, we have emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9th, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Well, weather's having a big effect. First of all, we have 215, only 2 lanes open eastbound between Redwood and I-15, and that's got traffic backed around to the West Belt. Redwood's starting to stack up in Taylorsville as people are having trouble getting on to 215 itself, or they're going up to 53rd and seeing delays all the way over to the freeway in Murray. I-15 now seeing some delays in Sandy coming up on 106th, and then again approaching 53rd, 33rd, and 201 beginning to slow down now between Bangerter and Redwood. Heather?
We do have a bit of slowing southbound I-15 in Kaysville, and again as you head into downtown Salt Lake. Nothing out of the ordinary, though. But if you transition from Legacy Parkway onto the West Side Belt trying to get to the airport, traffic is slow and even a bit stop and go now as the snow is starting to affect the drive on the West Side Belt, so you're going to have to slow down your speeds there. But the good news is we don't have any accidents reported in Weber or Davis counties. Eric?
Traffic's still being diverted northbound I-15 in Santaquin because of an earlier fatal crash on the northbound side approaching Payson. So you're going to be diverted there. You'll have to hook up back with northbound I-15 at the second Payson exit. From there, it looks good up to the point of the mountain. We've got usual slowdowns, Mountain View Corridor, turning into 2100 north and heading east over from Redwood Road to the freeway. And along the Wasatch Bank, usual eastbound slowing now just past Kimball Junction, approaching the Silver Creek exit. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, that snow is really starting to come down now, at least in some places. Going to be that way again tomorrow, Sunday, and Wednesday of next week. Warming up a little bit. 34 now in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
It is breaking news on KSL. We're dealing with major problems with the commute this morning on two different freeways because of overturned semis.
One of those crashes turned deadly. We begin our team coverage with KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who is working to get details on the overturned truck on I-215 in Murray. Adam?
Amanda, right now, I haven't even been able to get eyes on the actual truck yet because backups have been so bad. I got up to the Redwood exit as you're getting onto the southbound about 20 minutes ago, and I finally just got past that ramp. Like, even if you're staying in the left lanes where those two left lanes are open, you're barely moving faster than anyone. It's a complete parking lot. And then snow coming down right now, too. Also just saw a couple of UDOT plows actually going through the emergency pull-off on the left side to get around this mess. I'm not sure if they're going to try to potentially plow snow or either help with this crash. We're also still working to get any details of whether anyone was hurt in this rollover. But at least what I can tell people right now is that it is a complete and utter mess. I know it's a slog trying to get through the surface streets, getting over towards I-15 from this part of the valley, but anything looks better than what I'm driving in right now. Live in Salt Lake County, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The other semi-crash happened early this morning near Payson on I-15, where two people in a car were killed and a third injured when their car drove into a semi that was overturned. Here's KSL TV's Mike Anderson on the scene.
The semi was heading northbound early this morning, veered off into the middle, and state troopers say he overcorrected, swerving back right and then rolled. Moments later, a red sedan crashed into the trailer. Sergeant Cameron Roden tells us the driver simply didn't see the rolled semi in time to stop. 3 adult females were inside. Both the driver and front passenger died. The backseat passenger taken to a hospital in critical condition. And what's making this scene difficult to clear up is the fact that the semi-trailer is smashed and still fully loaded.
Anderson says the Highway Patrol isn't sure why the semi-truck swerved in the first place.
Let's take an early look at how those crashes are impacting the commute and continue our team coverage with Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center. Andy?
Well, the Santaquin crash has forced traffic off the freeway all morning, and there's been at least a mile backup just for people to get off the freeway. But at least for a while, it was moving okay through Payson. It is now backing up even on that alternate route. So it's going to take you a bunch of extra time. We don't have any estimate time, but it will be at least a mile of backups and then slowdowns on the city street. The Taylorsville crash is at least allowing traffic by on the freeway, so they're not forcing you off, but it is backed up all the way from the West Belt to I-15, and it's starting to spread delays onto city streets, Redwood Road in particular, and 5300 south of Murray. So And it's snowing in the Salt Lake Valley, too, so that's not helping either. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have yet another breaking story we're keeping a very close eye on. This one coming out of Iowa, where police have confirmed that there's been a school shooting, a high school shooting, evidently, in the city of Perry. Police are not providing details beyond that at this time. We're going to pass along any updates as we get them.
A child advocacy group is calling on lawmakers to expand who qualifies for Utah's child tax credit beyond the governor's proposal.
KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla is live with the details. Alexandria.
Tim, Governor Spencer Cox wants to expand the credit to families with kids up to 5 years old, but Voices for Utah Children tells KSL.com they wanted to also include newborns, saying that addition alone encompasses more than twice as many Utah kids. Under the new law, families can get a $1,000 credit for kids between 1 and 3 years old on their yearly taxes. To get the full credit, households can't make more than $54,000 a year. Utah is just one of the 13 states to institute its own child tax credit. Reporting live, Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Let's get another look now. First look traffic, and we go back to the traffic center and Andy Farnsworth.
And again, 215, big backups. Avoid the south belt between Redwood and I-15 if you can, but slowdowns are creeping in on a lot of other areas because of the storm in the Salt Lake Valley, including 215 coming out of Davis County. We've got slower spots in Tooele County, although actually I-80's improved since earlier this morning. And then, of course, the semi-rollovers on 215 in Murray and I-15 in Santaquin. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Time for KSL's top national stories this hour. Former President Donald Trump is asking the Supreme Court to overturn the ruling that took his name off the primary ballot in Colorado. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has details.
Lawyers for the former president say it shouldn't be up to state officials or courts to determine who's eligible to run for president, especially when it comes to whether one engaged in insurrection. They note the 14th Amendment allows Congress by a two-thirds vote to permit someone who did engage in insurrection to then serve. Trump's filing says that's proof that the final word on this rests with the House and Senate, and that allowing officials in every state to decide would be, quote, a recipe for bedlam and voter confusion.
Former President Trump was also removed from the ballot in Maine.
Court documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are starting to be released, revealing the names of powerful people who associated with Epstein.
Some of the names are people that may have just worked for Jeffrey Epstein and may have seen something or heard something and lawyers wanted to talk to them. Some may be additional victims that lawyers at the time wanted to talk to. Some may be people who flew on Epstein's private plane, people like former President Bill Clinton, who has never been accused of any wrongdoing as part of his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky says Epstein was accused of abusing young girls and women for years.
It was a crazy game at the Delta Center last night between the Jazz and the Pistons. It went to overtime. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with more. Michael?
Tim, the Jazz held off the Detroit Pistons 154-148 for the home win. Detroit was shooting pretty hot throughout the game, and they managed to send it into overtime at the buzzer. But the Jazz got the upper hand after Jordan Clarkson landed a three and put the Jazz ahead by 7. K-Jazz captured the moment.
They've won 20 games at times, Searle. Here's JC, leans in. Got it! Boom! Are you kidding me? I gotta say it.
The game also saw Bojan Bogdanovic return to the Delta Center and put 36 points on the board. Reporting live from the Delta Center, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
What a night that must have been.
Yeah, and I'm not sure everybody expected that because Detroit's been really struggling. Yeah. But, man, they were on it last night.
They were. We have separate rollovers we're reporting on this morning, both involving semi-trucks that have caused the biggest issues along the Wasatch Front. We'll check those areas and the rest of your commute just ahead.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through March 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Believe it or not, most small businesses don't have a 401k. If you don't have a 401k, you are missing out on the greatest wealth creation tool ever created. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and many 401ks are overpriced for the employer, have expensive and underperforming investment options, and have tedious administrative provisions. Not at Trajan Wealth. We can set up a 401k for a company for only $9 per employee, a $29 per plan fee, plus a small advisory fee, not thousands or even the tens of thousands you've been quoted, and do it all in less time than it takes to sit in traffic. 401ks will help you attract and retain top talent, and we can do it all for a couple $100. If you're an employee and don't have a 401k, tell your boss, call Trajan Wealth today. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Services offered through a third-party partner.
It's emergency traffic and weather together here at 8:09, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. They've completely stopped that traffic on 215 now.
Yeah, they got a snowplow trying to bulldoze all the debris that the semi tipped over on I-215 in Taylorsville, get it over to the shoulder. That would be good news for maybe getting more lanes open. But for now, no traffic getting by at the moment between Redwood and I-15 on the 215 southbound in Murray, Taylorsville. Redwood's backed up as well, approaching that area. You've got extra slowdown southbound on Bangerter over in Harriman and South Jordan. You've got I-15 beginning to slow through Sandy and Murray because of the snowy conditions. Heather?
No significant delays in Weber and Davis County, at least on the freeways, but you do have a touch of slowing southbound between Kaysville and Farmington, and again between Beck Street and downtown Salt Lake. Snow is also falling, so it's slowing down your speeds a bit on I-15 near the downtown area, as well as on the west side belt if you're trying to get to the airport. Eric?
We're hearing that lane might be about to open northbound I-15 in Santaquin. Right now, you're being diverted there because of a much earlier crash in the wee hours of the morning approaching Payson. That was a semi that rolled over. Right now, the backups are still there, though, because that lane isn't open yet, and so you're backed up into Juab County. The rest of I-15 in Utah County looks good. I-80 through the mountains in good shape, but you've got some eastbound slowing approaching the Kimball Junction exit, and then past that going over to Silver Creek and going into Park City westbound Kearns Boulevard. As is normal this time of the morning, you've got slowdowns from US 40. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brand you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
As a storm passes through the Four Corners area, we do have enough instability in northern Utah to kick off some clouds and even flurries today with a high of 37. Overnight, 28 mostly cloudy. Tomorrow, 37 with snow showers likely. Yes, we could see 1 to 2 inches. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It is snowing downtown now, 34 degrees.
And coming up in just a moment on KSL, we'll talk to Debbie Dujanovic a little bit about the border crisis. Mike Johnson was there, the Speaker of the House, leading dozens of Republicans to the border on a tour. We'll learn more with Debbie just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Look for us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Tim and I are excited to tell you about something that they're doing at Soda Weight Loss. I know many of you have thought about doing this, and you've heard me tell you that, I lost 34 pounds in less than 3 months, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been able to keep it off. And if you've hesitated for any reason, listen up, because right now you can win a full year of Soda's amazing program.
But wait, there's more. They'll actually throw in a $2,000 wardrobe makeover. They call it their Soda Shape Up Showdown.
The Soda Shape Up Showdown. And here's all you do. You just email this address, shapeup@sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
It was a game changer for my daughter. We've shared her story. Amber lost 42 pounds. And the thing that really made the difference for her was that you get your own nutritionist right there in your pocket at all times. She would text her from time to time when she was at the grocery store.
Or a restaurant.
Be steered to certain things on the menu or certain brand names of salad dressing, for instance. So it really is a way to change your life.
I mean, we were talking this morning about how that when it comes right down to it, the only way to lose weight and keep it off for life is to change your relationship with food, and this will do that.
It's Soda Weight Loss, spelled S-O-T-A. Think Tim and Amanda. Soda Weight Loss is state of the art.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, skeptical.
When your back pain is your foot's fault. This is Dean's story.
It was affecting me when I walked, which is a kind of a common activity.
Dean's chronic back pain had become a pain in the you-know-what.
At first, I just sort of ignored it, but eventually everything catches up to you.
Physically and mentally.
Back pain affects your mood. It really does.
But that's not the only connection Dean made.
A friend of mine suggested I go to the Good Feet store. I was a little confused. Why would I need a foot store? My feet are fine.
But he thought, what the heck? He had nothing to lose.
They took impressions of my feet, and with the footprint, they were able to get me a personalized arch support that, lifted pressure off my back.
So the source of your back pain was right under your toes.
It's something maybe I should have known, but I found out in the nicest possible way.
See how arch supports work for you with a free fitting. Find your Good Feet store at goodfeet.com.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Farmington, Riverton, or Sandy for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit mygoodfeet.com.
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a child advocate group is calling for lawmakers to vastly expand who qualifies for Utah's child tax credit even further than the governor did in his yearly budget. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, 2 people died this morning after a sedan hit an overturned semi-truck on I-15 near Payson, and we have a second semi overturned on I-215 in Murray.
That's obviously having big effects. Let's check your traffic and weather together.
Yeah, everyone's still being forced off northbound 15 in Santaquin for Utah County drivers. And then on 215, right now they have all lanes of the freeway stopped while they try to bulldoze the debris over to the shoulder from the semi-rollover in Murray. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're right on schedule today with cloudy skies and some flurries. Cold. I'm Matt Johnson.
34 degrees downtown at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get your top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. There has been a shooting at a high school in Iowa, northwest of Des Moines. There's no further details available, including any information about possible victims, but a police administrator tells ABC News the shooting took place at Perry High School. Perry is about 40 minutes northwest of Des Moines. Senators in Washington are continuing talks on a border deal as part of a larger spending agreement. Meanwhile, House Republicans travel to the southern border on Wednesday. That's where Speaker Mike Johnson said,
America is at a breaking point with record levels of illegal immigration. And today, we got a firsthand look at the damage and the chaos the border catastrophe is causing in all of our communities.
The U.S. has been trying to reduce the risk of a larger war in the Middle East, but a double bombing in Iran Wednesday that killed nearly 100 people and injured more than 200 led Iran to immediately accuse the West. ABC's Martha Raddatz is in Israel.
They immediately blamed Israel. They immediately blamed America. The U.S. officials do believe this was a strike by ISIS, but they will keep saying it's Israel's fault in Iran.
Private payroll company ADP says annual pay last month was up by nearly 5.5% from December of 2022. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze says holiday spending was also up.
It was a record holiday shopping season online, and that means some big bills will soon be due. New data from Adobe Analytics shows that Americans spent $222 billion online in November and December. That was up 5% from last year, and those strong sales were driven by steep discounts for electronics, toys, and clothes. A record $16.6 billion in purchases were made using Buy Now, Pay Later.
More documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein could be released today. Documents released Wednesday included the name of former President Bill Clinton. He has not been accused of any wrongdoing in the case. You're listening to ABC News.
ABC News was just sharing again this visit to the border with House Speaker Mike Johnson. Debbie's here. I'm going to guess that some Utah representation was there, too?
Yes. Newly elected Representative Celeste Malloy went down to the southern border in Texas, along with Representative Burgess Owens. We know that Representative Owens will be joining Boyd Matheson's show this afternoon, sometime between the 1 and 3 o'clock hours of his show. So stay tuned for that. And we're also working to get Celeste Malloy on our show. I guess she's in transit today, so we're hoping, crossing our fingers, she has time to join us. But there's a massive problem right now, and there has been for decades at the southern border. However, I will say December 2023 was the highest number of encounters that the Border Patrol has ever had in its history in a 1 month period. 300,000 300,002 encounters at the southern border, 71,000 alone at the spot in Texas where these 60 some odd Republican lawmakers went to. And one of the things they're calling for is the Trump policy of remain in Mexico, that President Biden reinstate that, and he has not done that at this point. And that would mean that if you're an asylum seeker and you're waiting for a hearing, you stay in Mexico until that hearing happens. However, on the other side of this, we need workers here. And we spoke yesterday to current Representative John Curtis, who's now, of course, announcing his run for the U.S. Senate about this very issue. When he travels the state of Utah and he speaks to, the hospitality industry and to farmers across Utah, they say this.
Listen, everywhere I go in the district, I hear from agriculture, from hospitality, from every industry, they need workers. Desperate. And we have people willing to come.
So it's tough to have everybody remain in Mexico while they wait years for a hearing when we need workers here now. So what is that balance? Where can we hit that balance? We're going to go seek answers today during the show, starting right out of the gates in the 9 o'clock hour, guys.
All right, Dave and Deb coming up top of the hour. This portion of Utah's Morning News brought to you by Revere Health.
8:19 now. We have emergency traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy?
Amanda, 215 remains blocked right now as crews are trying to bulldoze the debris over to the shoulder with a snow plow. So at this moment, nobody getting past from Redwood over to I-15 in Murray by the golf course. And Redwood's quickly stacking up into West Jordan as a result for northbound traffic. We've also got extra delay on Mountain View going from Taylorsville into West Valley, and southbound slowdowns on Bangerter this morning, approaching 134 south. It's a bit out of the ordinary. Heather?
Well, the snow is creeping north into Davis County, and that is creating some wet road conditions, and traffic is very slow right now, southbound 15 between Beck Street and downtown. We also have a bit of delay if you transition from Legacy Parkway onto the west side belt heading toward the airport. Further north of that, everything looks pretty good. The earlier congestion we had near the school zones has cleared out, and no delays on US 89 or I-84. Eric?
All the lanes are still closed northbound I-15 in Santaquin because of an earlier crash. Traffic all morning long has been diverted in Santaquin. You're going to have to go past a lot of Payson before you get back onto the freeway. The crash occurred about a mile before Payson, so it's backing up into Juab County. Once you get past all of that, everything has been fine this morning, with the exception of one northbound crash in Pleasant Grove, but everything else has been looking good all morning long despite the wet conditions heading up to the county line. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast is full of cold air and snow chances. Love to see it. 37 today with flurries likely. 37 tomorrow with snow showers moving in right around that lunch hour. 33 and cloudy skies for most of the day on Saturday, and we could see some snow move in Saturday night. 31 cold on Sunday, snow likely, especially in the morning. 29, partly cloudy on Monday, dry on Tuesday again, 34. Then we bring in more snow on Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It is snowing downtown right now, 33 degrees in the 7-day forecast, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
And the Big 12 basketball begins in earnest. And I'm looking forward to today's lunch hour special here on KSL because I believe that Mitch and Matt will be talking about the lineup that BYU basketball faces.
Yeah, and described by Coach Pope as a gauntlet.
It's a gauntlet, yeah.
But you look at so many ranked teams. It's always been known, or for a long time been known, as the best basketball conference in the country.
And BYU belongs there.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. And by the way, we do have BYU basketball on our air Saturday night. As you're headed home Saturday night, don't forget, 7 o'clock is the pregame tip-off at 8. It's BYU versus Cincinnati here on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 8:22.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
At Revere Health, we understand that a proactive approach to maintaining your health increases the potential to lead an active, healthy life. Routine preventative care helps detect problems early, helping to reduce or eliminate health complications in the future. Annual health screenings are an important measure you can take to prevent chronic issues from limiting your activity. Schedule a wellness checkup and begin your journey to a healthier life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life.
Jazz Plus is here. With Jazz Plus, you can watch games live from your TV, computer, tablet, or phone. So don't miss any of the action when you're at home or away. Can't get enough of your favorite team? Go behind the scenes and see what the team is up to on and off the court. With flexible plans, you can choose what works for you, from full season to monthly, or just pick a single game you want to watch. Sign up and subscribe today at UtahJazzPlus.com.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show January 6th and 7th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. 2 semi-truckloads of wholesale ammo with no limit on quantity. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for $95 and 1,000 rounds of .223 for $395. Shop our massive selection of firearms, mags, knives, and outdoor equipment. It's the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, so you know it'll be good.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Dave and Dujanovic. More than 60 Republican lawmakers visited the southern border, including Utah Representatives Burgess Owens and Celeste Malloy. I'll tell you why I think this visit specifically will force Republicans into getting something done at the border, even if they have to shut down the government. Today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. General Motors says it will be discounting the electric vehicles that no longer qualify for the government's $7,500 tax credit. The automaker says it wants prices to stay competitive.
The Biden administration providing $162 million to microchip technology. It's to support the domestic production of computer chips. The incentive includes $90 million to improve a plant in Colorado, $72 million to expand a factory in Oregon. The investments would triple domestic production of these chips.
Utah County is getting its first cheesecake factory.
Yay!
The restaurant will be located at University Place in Orem. Officials said construction will begin immediately, and they're set to open in February.
Cheesecake. The markets this morning, the Dow is up 165 points. That's better than 0.4. The S&P is also in the green by 9. The NASDAQ trying to catch up. It's still down 27.
Those two right lanes are still blocked eastbound on I-215 because of the rolled semi approaching the I-15 interchange there in Murray. We'll check that just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This U.S. Senate race gets better by the day.
Elections officials say next week's deadline may catch some by surprise.
Congressman John Curtis in studio with us live.
This is a major life decision.
Democrats say they will run a candidate, but haven't yet said who.
Get updates on who's running each morning this week and get analysis on the candidates later in the day. Listen to David Dujanovic at 9 and Boyd Matheson at 1. Your voice, your vote 2024 this week
on KSL News Radio.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday from 11 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, mpsstore.com.
8:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with DinoPay. Andy, there's 3 lanes moving now on I-215.
Yeah, the truck is still on its side, and it looks like that's going to be a while. The right lane is still blocked on I-215 in Taylorsville near I-15, and the delays still go back past Redwood Road. But, again, now they are letting traffic by, and it is in 3 lanes instead of just 2. So that's some improvement. We still have Bangerter slowdowns going south from Riverton down around the curve towards Bluffdale, and Mountain View still got that delay going through the intersections in West Valley up towards 3500 south. Heather?
Speeds are still pretty good southbound I-15 from Ogden into North Salt Lake, but as soon as you get to the I-215 North interchange, that's where you slow down the rest of the way into Salt Lake City. That is due to wet road conditions with snow falling in the area, and you also have a bit of delay on the west side belt, I-215 heading south, trying to hook onto I-80, getting to the airport. Eric?
Well, we're still waiting for lanes to open up down in Utah County all morning long. Northbound I-15 has been diverted in Santaquin because of a crash further up the road, and it's backing up into Juab County. But word is we might get a lane open here pretty soon. We'll see. From Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's a 24-minute drive, and that's normal. On I-80 through the mountains, the only problems you're going to have is coming out on the eastbound side at Kimball Junction. That's where you're going to see some slowing, as well as on approach to Silver Creek if you're heading over to US 40. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the weather forecast looks like this. Snow. We've got snow in the forecast finally. Today and tomorrow, an even better chance tomorrow. More snow on Sunday, and another storm moves in, an even bigger one, Matt says, next Wednesday. Right now, it's 34 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
It's a developing story. 2 semi-trucks overturned on our freeways this morning. The first happened near Payson, where 2 people died when their sedan ran into the overturned truck.
The second happened on I-215 in Murray, and that's where we find KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who joins us live. Adam?
Amanda, I'm barely just being able to see those snow plows that were helping push that debris off the freeway. To put this in perspective, what I can tell you in terms of delays, I reached Redwood Road at about 7:40. It's now 8:31, and I am now just about a half mile from the I-15 junction. Delays here have been terrible. We were stopped here for about 10 to 15 minutes while they were clearing those. What I can tell people is that you are going to want to avoid this area at all costs. I can imagine how many more cars got trapped in this in the time that I've been sitting here. In terms of potential injuries, this crash, I do have a call out with Utah Highway Patrol. We are working to gather more information to see what may have caused this truck to flip over, and to obviously see if the driver is okay, if there are any injuries. We'll keep you updated as information does come in. But for now, there's a few lanes open, but it is still definitely not a route you want to be taking into work this morning. Live in Murray, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Meantime, police at that semi-crash in Payson say the semi-driver swerved toward the median and then overcorrected, causing the truck to tip over. They say drugs or alcohol do not appear to be the cause in that crash. Beyond the 2 people who died in the sedan, a third person in the back seat was also taken to the hospital in critical condition.
We do have some snow falling this morning and more on the way. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says the best chance for accumulating snow in the valley is this weekend.
A break for most of the day on Saturday, but by Saturday night, snow showers starting to increase. Most of the snowfall will be Saturday night into Sunday morning. That storm could pick up a solid 1 to 4 inches if things pan out correctly. We take a break Monday, Tuesday, then a colder storm on Wednesday of next week. That'll bring another several inches to the Wasatch Front.
Highs will be in the 30s throughout the rest of the week.
The other developing story this morning is taking place in Perry, Iowa, where police have confirmed a shooting at Perry High School. This is the first day back at school after winter break, and multiple law enforcement and emergency responders are still on site.
Police confirmed the school and surrounding schools have been secured. The first reports of a possible active shooter came in around 7:40 this morning. The school was cleared about an hour later. A news conference is scheduled for 9 a.m. our time, and we will pass along the details as we get them.
Other news this morning, newly unsealed court documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case included some high-profile names.
Giuffre's attorneys sought to depose Clinton as part of her 2016 lawsuit against Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, because her attorneys argued Clinton is a key person who can provide information about his close relationship with Maxwell and Epstein and disapprove Maxwell's claims. Giuffre made no allegations of wrongdoing against Clinton, contradicting a previous claim when she said she flew with Clinton and the Secret Service in a helicopter. According to Maxwell's unsealed deposition, she said the allegations that Clinton had dinner on Epstein's private island were 100% false.
ABC's Andrew Dimmert says other names found in the documents included former President Trump, Michael Jackson, even David Copperfield.
Investigators are still trying to figure out how a man was able to get through secured doors at the Salt Lake International Airport and climb into a plane engine. Kyler Effinger's father tells KSL-TV Kyler was bipolar and suffering a manic episode.
If he was bleeding in the airport or choking on his burrito, he would have found help immediately, and it would have been good professional help. We still do not have enough trained professionals to come help someone who's having a manic attack.
Kyler was on his way to see his dying grandfather, but he missed his flight. His family believes the stress is what caused the attack.
Been a busy morning for Andy and the team. Let's get your first look traffic.
Right now, 215. 3 lanes are open going from Redwood to I-15, but unfortunately, we still have quite a bit of delay from the West Belt to I-15. Utah County I-15 still closed in Santaquin, all the way up into Payson. But actually, other than that, things have really started to calm down, especially up north. We haven't had much traffic issues. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
It was a big year for car dealers. ABC's Daria Albinger explains why.
Americans bought 15.6 million new vehicles last year. Cox Automotive says that's 12% more than 2022 and the biggest increase in over a decade. It's also despite high prices, rising interest rates, a UAW strike, and a computer chip shortage.
Sales were around $17 million a year pre-pandemic.
The Ogden Nature Center teaming up with a bird and bat migration tracking system. They call it MODIS.
We put these little tags on them, and within 15 minutes, we can send these little guys back out into the wild to just do their little bird things, do their little bat things, whatever they need.
Do their little bat things. The center's conservation director, Maya Pendleton, says using this technology to track migration patterns will help them with conservation efforts.
Utah makes the top 10 for states with habits that lead to good brain health. Details from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
In looking for the top states with lifestyles promoting brain health, LifeExtension.com looked at 7 different factors. Among those are children under the age of 5 who are being read to every night, reading for pleasure, and frequency of exercise. The report ranks Utah 9th overall for healthy brain habits.
Data for the study comes from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention.
The embattled commissioner of the Pac-12 spoke for the first time about the collapse of the conference. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit reports.
George Kliavkoff finally gave his thoughts months after Pac-12 began to unravel around the failed media rights negotiations with ESPN. When reporters caught up to him after Washington's playoff securing win against Texas, he placed the blame on the schools. He told Yahoo, quote, "If some of our schools would have been a little more patient, it would have paid off," close quote. Despite blaming the schools, he wasted no time taking credit for the Pac-12's wide success this season, calling it surreal. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
We have a crash cleanup continuing on the 215 South Belt in Murray and northbound I-15 in Payson. We had semi-rollovers in both cases. We'll check it. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Paid for by government.com.
The 1878 to 1921 Morgan Silver Dollar, a true American classic and one of the most iconic silver dollar coins in history. It's been 100 years since the last Morgan Silver Dollar coin was struck for circulation. And now, for a limited time only, full pound bags of original U.S. government struck Morgan dollars are being released to the public. That's right, you can own a full pound of 1878 to 1921 classic American Morgan Silver Dollar coins, all in very good collector condition with fully visible dates and mint marks, guaranteed. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure collector-grade U.S. Morgan Silver Dollars by the pound, struck during the Wild West and the Gilded Age. Plus, receive a bonus American Collector's Pack, valued at over $25, free with every order. Call 1-800-473-0864 now to secure your full-pound bag of Morgan Silver Dollar coins before they are gone. 1-800-473-0864. That's 1-800-473-0864.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
We continue to follow word of a school shooting at Perry High School, Perry, Iowa. The first reports of a possible active shooter came in about 7:40 this morning. We understand they'll have a press conference 20 minutes from now. We'll be following the story.
8:39, traffic and weather together. It's emergency traffic every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, 215, still an area to avoid in the Salt Lake Valley going east from Redwood over to I-15. It's still going to take you over 15 minutes because of a overturned semi that spilled a bunch of debris. They do have 3 lanes open. Redwood's got a lot of southbound delay now from people who came off of the West Belt and then are heading south towards 70th South to go get over on I-15 at 72nd. We still have Bangerter slowdowns a little bit in Riverton at about 134th South for the southbound direction. Heather?
We don't have too many problems up north in Weber and Davis counties. No accidents reported. We have had a bit of congestion on some of our city streets, and you'll see that mostly at larger intersections when lights turn red. But for the most part, you are at freeway speeds on I-15, US 89, and Legacy Parkway in all directions. Eric?
Traffic still stopped northbound I-15 Santaquin and has been all morning because of an earlier fatal rollover a mile before Payson northbound I-15. So you're backed up almost all the way into Juab County. You're going to be forced off of I-15 there until they get another lane opened up. And as a result, you also have congestion slowdowns on State Street going from Santaquin into Payson. Now, the rest of Utah County is looking pretty decent except for 2100 North. You got eastbound slowing from Redwood Road over to the freeway there. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies today with flurries likely. Not much in the way of accumulation. Highs top out at only 37 degrees. 28 overnight. We'll go mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 37, and we've got a boundary moving in. That'll produce at least 1 to 2 inches of snow. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in Salt Lake City, 34 degrees.
KSL TV's reporter Mike Anderson is down in Payson at the scene of that deadly rollover crash earlier this morning that has the freeway closed. We're going to talk to Mike and find out more about what happened just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Look for us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Made to shine. Real stories from Shane Company customers.
I grew up in a small town near my grandma. I looked up to her in so many ways. Her creativity, her style. Sadly, she passed away before my wedding. At my rehearsal dinner, my mom surprised me with my grandmother's favorite amethyst ring from Shane Company. I wore it on the big day, and I felt like she was there with me.
Shine bright with hand-selected gemstones in every color of the rainbow. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Whether it's a small clog or a larger mainline sewer drain issue, the experienced technicians at Yes are ready to solve all of your drain problems. Take advantage of our 83 or It's Free mainline drain clearing special. Feel secure knowing the trusted professionals at Yes guarantee that if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take? I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
2 overturned semis are causing problems on Utah's freeways this morning. 2 people are dead and 1 is in critical condition as a result of one of the crashes. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, we are waiting for an update from Perry, Iowa, where police have confirmed there was a school shooting this morning.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
We've got that 215 rollover, still has the right lane of the freeway blocked, and you're backed up from Redwood to I-15, and all traffic still being forced off of North 15 in Santaquin, and now it's backed up most of the way on the alternate route, State Street, from Santaquin into Payson, till you can get back to the freeway. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies with flurries today, but accumulating snow tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
And time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. At least one person has been killed in a shooting at a high school in Perry, Iowa. That's according to law enforcement officials briefed on the situation. At least 2 other people appear to be injured. ABC's Kendall Ross is outside of Perry High School, northwest of Des Moines.
Law enforcement officials outside. Roads have been blocked off. Parents are outside hugging each other. I can see, in the distance. Still waiting to hear details from the sheriff's office, from other law enforcement, from local police.
The FBI says its agents are assisting the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. Former President Trump's attorneys are asking a federal judge overseeing the election subversion case to hold special counsel Jack Smith in contempt, claiming he's continuing to file briefs even though the case is on hold. And Iranian state media says Iran believes suicide bombers carried out Wednesday's blast that killed nearly 100 people at a ceremony. This is ABC News.
Well, it was a rough start to the commute this morning when we learned that 2 people died, 1 in critical condition after a semi-crash in Payson, and we had a second semi-crash that happened in Murray on I-215.
KSL TV's Mike Anderson spent the morning at the Payson crash, and he joins us now live on the KSL Newsline. What happened down there, Mike?
Yeah, guys, a very sad scene out there. This started with a semi driver that kind of veered off into the left shoulder and overcorrected, and that caused the semi to roll over. And it was moments later that state troopers say that a red sedan just crashed into the overturned trailer there, and they believe that the driver simply, with the lighting there and the way that the crash was, the driver just simply couldn't see the trailer there in time. So 2 women, the front seat driver and passenger died in that crash, and then a back seat passenger was taken to a hospital.
So the way the semi went down, the lights were sort of horizontal to where the traffic was coming from. They just couldn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I was there on scene, and just the wreckage. There was no lights that you could see on the trailer. It was pretty dark, and just a really sad turn of events. They're still investigating why the semi went off to the left in the first place, but it'll be a little bit before they have answers there.
Just one more thing, Mike. Do you know anything about the condition of the semi driver?
He had some minor injuries, but was still there on scene, was not taken to the hospital, so he's fine.
All right, Mike, we appreciate your coverage there. We also have Adam Small joining us live. He just got past the crash on I-215 in Murray. What do you see there, Adam?
Yeah, Tim, I actually dropped a couple of pictures for you guys in our little Teams chat. So I did just get some more information from Sergeant Cameron Roden with Utah Highway Patrol just in time here. So he told me that this was actually a semi that picks up and transports waste specifically from construction sites. Now, what happened, he said, is that the driver hit a vehicle, like an abandoned vehicle that you sometimes see them parked off the side of the freeway. So apparently he hits one on accident, and just overturns his semi, his load. So all that trash and everything that you saw those UDOT plows literally having to plow off the road clear for traffic was his load from these construction sites. But the good news, I did just find out that this driver is fine. He was not transported to a hospital. They're hoping they can actually get the truck off the road completely within the hour. But as you saw, there's a ton of waste just strewn off the side of the road that could take hours longer to clean up. So as you're driving through that today, just know that you could be seeing more crews at least working to clear all that up. But in terms of delays, it's getting better because they opened up a few more lanes. I got there when it was still ongoing. I actually saw the UDOT plows pass, had to stop for like 10, 15 minutes. It took me almost a solid hour to get through that, but it should be a little bit better, but still very much alternate route friendly kind of day if you normally go through that area.
These pictures are really great, Adam. I can see, just like you said, there's just huge trailer of trash that we saw on the freeway earlier. Will you be posting these to our website, Adam?
I'll run them by the digital team. I was technically still driving, so I'll probably just have to check that out first. Nobody tell on me.
Okay.
I promise I was being safe. So.
Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, they're just interesting. And you can see it on the KSL traffic cameras, too, where that trash was.
Yeah, and obviously still affecting the drive. So at 8:49, let's get a look at what continues to be emergency traffic this morning. It's brought to you by Sinclair. Save up to 20 cents with Dino Pay. Andy?
Yeah, all that debris got bulldozed over to the side of the road, but it looks like they're trying to do some sweeping work also. So it's still going to be a bit before they reopen the right lane on 215 near I-15 in Murray. Traffic is still back to Redwood Road, although the Redwood delays for northbounders are better. You've still got southbound Redwood backups coming off 215 going down to 70th South in West Jordan and along 5300 South from basically Taylorsville High over to the freeway at 53rd South and I-15 in Murray. Heather?
We do have slowdowns on Legacy Parkway northbound between Centerville and Farmington. This is due to lane restrictions. Only one right lane is open at this time. Plus, you've got snow happening in that area, so roadways are a bit wet, adding to your slowdowns. The city streets have most of the congestion, though. You're going to see that a little bit in Ogden, Clearfield, and Roy, but overall, you've got a good drive on the other freeways. Eric?
Well, we finally got one lane open northbound I-15 in Santaquin. This was all because of a crash involving a semi earlier approaching Payson, and all morning long, all of the lanes had been closed. You were being diverted onto State Street. One lane is open, and good news is you don't generally have a lot of volume in that direction this time in the morning, so that may be just enough to alleviate the backups that now exist. We'll see what happens. The rest of the way on I-15 all the way up to Lehigh, looking good, but on the 2100 North and Lehigh, you've got your usual eastbound slowing from Redwood Road over to the freeway. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brand you know, at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, cold with an active pattern setting up. 37 today. We'll go mostly cloudy skies with flurries and really not much in the way of accumulation. Snow showers likely for your Friday starting around the lunch hour. 37 the high. 33 cloudy for most of the day Saturday. Then Saturday night snow moves in. Snow likely on Sunday, especially in the morning. 31's all we get for a high. 29 on Monday. Partly cloudy skies. It looks dry. Mostly cloudy and 34 on Tuesday. Gives way to more snow showers and potentially some really cold air working in on Wednesday, Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now we have clouds and 34 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I was just looking at the BYU basketball schedule. Let's see, Houston, Kansas, Baylor.
That's going to be a good game.
Kansas State, Oklahoma State. My goodness, there are so many great teams. You want to learn more about what Big 12 basketball is all about? Be listening at noon today. We're going to get a little preview with the help of Mitch and Matt. That is during your noon hour here on KSL.
If you know me, Hans Olsen, you know my wife's the most important thing in my life. What she wants, I deliver. And it looks like we're getting new cabinets. I took her to the Euromax cabinet showroom in Pleasant Grove, and she hasn't looked at me the way she looked at those cabinets in 15 years. Doors that close quietly with the press of a button, LED lighting inlaid, waterproof box, shelves, and doors that won't warp from moisture. Every color and design imaginable for those doors. Simply put, the most magnificent cabinets your eyes will ever behold. Mike and Max combined a vision of over 35 years of experience to bring us Euromax. Max with his Ukraine roots, and Mike with 25 years of installation. It delivers the greatest in cabinet design, building, and installation. Truly, my amazing wife was in awe. We both were. And if I have to buy her love, I will. Go see all the possibilities at EuromaxFurniture.com. That's EuromaxFurniture.com. Whether you're rebuilding a kitchen or starting a new build, it's EuromaxFurniture.com for your cabinets. Euromax, built for you.
Can an insurance bot ever really understand your needs?
Do you think I'd benefit from bundling my auto and home coverage?
Searching for homes with car dealerships nearby.
Sure, robots listen, but do they understand you? At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you save money and time by bundling your auto and home insurance. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've had people ask me, how does NPS, the nice place to save, have such great low prices? Well, they acquire their inventory from overstock, unclaimed and refused shipments from companies around the country, and it makes them possible for you to get these products that you want at unbelievable prices. And it's a win-win-win for everybody. I want to remind everybody, too, that when you shop at NPS, they're always competitive with their groceries. And then the incredible prices on most of the products throughout the store, it is amazing. They check their competitors' pricing first, then they mark down everything between 30 and 70% off, and then they have weekly offers and weekly sales where you can save additional amounts, 20 to 70% off the already reduced prices. New inventory comes in every day. It's an adventure to shop at NPS, the nice place to save, in Orem, Layton, and 2 stores right here in Salt Lake City.
Dave and Dujanovic. More than 60 Republican lawmakers visited the southern border, including Utah Representatives Burgess Owens and Celeste Malloy. I'll tell you why I think this visit specifically will force Republicans into getting something done at the border, even if they have to shut down the government. Today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Before we check money news, we just got an update on that school shooting in Perry, Iowa, so let's listen into a special report from ABC.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Dave Packer. Iowa school shooting. A shooting this morning at Perry High School in Perry, Iowa, about 40 miles northwest of Des Moines, leaving one person dead. There appears to be 2 other people injured at the scene. A parent speaking to reporters outside the school, saying his son told him he was grazed with a bullet, his friend also shot, and they hid in a classroom. Megan McPherson with our ABC Des Moines affiliate, WOI, speaking with a parent outside the school.
He is sharing text messages between him and his son, a sophomore here at Perry High School, who says he was grazed by a bullet. This was actually before school was set to start this morning. He says that his son comes into school early and was here early. Of course, this being the first day of the semester after the winter break for these students here at Perry High School.
Officials say the site's been secured and they will release more information soon. This is ABC News.
Now, watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The hottest gift this holiday season, funny enough, was a Stanley tumbler, and you said your boys are even all about it.
Yeah, huh? and my boys' girlfriends, too. They just love this thing.
Data from Helium 10 said the beloved cup was searched more than 4.5 million times on Amazon. The cup starts at $35.
Yeah, and there's a special Starbucks one that's pink. The low-calorie ice cream brand Halo Top is offering a $5,000 endorsement deal to 10 athletes working on their fitness-related New Year's resolution. Applications are open, and lucky winners will get $5,000, fitness coaching, a talent manager, and plenty of ice cream.
Markets are still mixed to this point, although the NASDAQ looks like it's going to catch up here, hopefully. The Dow is up 194, that's 0.5%. The S&P is up 12. The NASDAQ is down, but less than 5.
One lane now getting through northbound I-15 in Santaquin. We'll check it next on KSL.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials like James Hardie siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You'll be